Tipp today, in association with Slattery's of Pecan, your main Peugeot dealer for over 50 years in the Premier County. Slattery'sGarage.ie.
Good morning, welcome along to Tipp Today. 1800 938 007, our free phone number if you want to give us a call, and Leanne is producing today. Coming up on the show, Jessica, very upset because her son who has autism does not have a special school place for September. The quality of public lighting in Cashel. We'll be hearing from Social Democrat Deputy Aidan Farrelly on the frustrations of being a TD. Muriel Cuddy has the Wellbeing slot. Stephen Gleeson is live from Thurles ahead of Sarah's cycle. And Joe Noble will speak to us about vintage style. So all of that and much, much more on the way. You can text and WhatsApp 083 311 3311. You can email tiptoday@tippfm.com. Let's have a look at the front pages of some of your newspapers. The Irish Daily Mail, their lead story today: property developers are paying for an event in the French Riviera city of Cannes that will be attended by the Department of Housing to court international investors. Now, the department is refusing to disclose the details of the sponsorship deal for the event next week, or the one that was held there last week as well. Let's move to the Irish Times, and they're leading with the story that the US-Israel war on Iran spread to the Indian Ocean yesterday when a US submarine torpedoed an Iranian frigate off Sri Lanka, killing at least 87 people, and NATO air defences shot down an Iranian ballistic missile headed for Turkey. So that is the big danger, US extending war on Iran to the Indian Ocean. Also reading on the Times today that regulations to ban scramblers outright in public places were delayed due to competing interests in the Department of Transport across 2.5 years, documents are showing. And the front page of the Times today dominated by a photograph of the Burke family, and the headline there: time to end the family circus. We live in a democracy governed by the rule of law, not a theocracy governed by the Burke family, said Judge Brian Cregan as he sentenced Enoch Burke's mother, Martina, and sister Amy to 2 weeks in prison for contempt of court. The two women were not in court, in fact, to hear the judge's ruling there. The Irish Examiner, and the lead story on the Examiner today, the headline: credits and excise cuts ruled out despite spike in fuel costs. The government has ruled out the reintroduction of energy credits and excise cuts on fuel as concerns grow about energy costs due to the spiralling war in Iran, which turned even deadlier on its fifth day. Also on the Examiner today, the majority of psychiatrists working in Kerry Children's Mental Health Services only offer remote treatment, the HSE has admitted, amid claims of little improvement for families following a series of damning reports there. The Independent is dominated by a remarkable photograph. Indeed, it's a photograph of a boy walking away from what looks to be an unexploded Iranian missile that landed in a field in Syria. And he's just so calm, and he gives an indication of the size of the missile. In fact, in the photograph as well. The US and Israeli war in Iran has widened beyond the Middle East as NATO shot down a missile bound for Turkey, they're telling us, which is covered right across the newspapers today. But the lead story on the Indo, a government charge of €800 per adult for a charter flight from the Gulf War has been described as a shakedown, and the Department of Foreign Affairs said it is bearing a portion of cost of tomorrow's Oman flight aimed at getting vulnerable citizens home as a priority. That's causing quite a row, as you would have heard during our news bulletin. The Irish Farmers Journal is on your shelves today as well, and Rachel Donovan has the lead story there, telling us that fertiliser sales have been put on pause this week in the wake of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Supply and price of urea based products is the real concern among importers, some of which pulled price lists and existing quotations on Wednesday. Let's look at what's making headlines. Would you like to comment on any of that? And if you would, 083 311 3311. Now, a few weeks ago, Jessica Morrissey from Holy Cross joined us on the programme to share the upsetting battle she faced in trying to secure a school place for her young son with autism. Now, Jessica got back to us this week and she joins me now. Good morning to you, Jessica.
Good morning.
Good to talk to you today. Since we last spoke, Jessica, have you managed to secure a place?
Well, I ended up with acute laryngitis. I couldn't even speak with the stress of everything. But the progress that has been made so far is that the eligibility letter was released the day after the enrolments were finished. So I thought that it was the biggest kick into the teeth. I still sent out late, and I was advised by the CNOs of the NCSE to still apply for late enrolments. Now, I do believe that there are parents that are sitting actually on choices of autism, so I really, really urge them to make a decision so someone else can take that place, or it can be allocated to that place. But that's not happening for another week or two. So in the meantime, then I'm still waiting to see if those late enrolment applications, nobody got back to me except for Holy Cross, which I have to say the principal there, excuse me.
That's all right, Jessica.
She did say it was 32 students in her class, and that was the choice that I was left with. And even at that, I don't think that's going to be even fitting for my son. But she was willing to give it a chance. And then in Littleton, there's two places there. The principal is waiting for parents to reply back. And if both parents take those places, Jace will have to go to the mainstream. But there's less students there. So that would be the better option. Then they're after opening this is a positive now, they're after opening a place in Templemore. There are 6 places, so I'm after sending the minute the CNO email. I'm looking at my emails throughout the day and responding effective immediately, responding to get in my enrolments. But at the moment, it's still up in the air. I'm still, waiting and praying rather. And just the services for autism is really, really poor. The turnover of psychologists, the turnover of social workers in the area is like my friend, the mother of Jace that Jace goes to school with. She's on her 4th social worker in 18 months. So, I'm not the only one that's going through this, and she's fighting hard for 4 of her kids with autism, and we're really good support for each other. We have been for she's really good support to me. I've only one child to get stressed over, whereas she is 4. So when you put it in comparison to that, and then when you put this in comparison to the news and the wars that are happening all over the world, I feel like for me to get upset over something like this, I just feel, maybe I should just look at the broader picture.
But I mean, how can you do that when you're struggling to organise the best life for your son, Jessica, which is your priority?
It's a fight. It's a fight that shouldn't have to be. There shouldn't be a fight.
Yeah.
It should be just automatically a transcendent, transitioning for the child. Instead of he's looking at me and he's wondering why is her energy like so stressed? And he can sense that because he's quite hypersensitive, and he's very good to pick up on energy. Someone with autism, they have gifts. Yes. That normal people, or not normal people, but neurodivergent or neurotypical people have. That's the proper that's the proper way to speak. And
even from speaking to you last time as well, Jessica, and I can hear it in your voice now as well. I mean, the toll this is taking on you is incredible.
Yeah, and I'm a single mother, and it's on my shoulders, you know. And then I'm trying to work. I'm actually in work now. I'm working in the Tipperary University Hospital, and I'm in a quiet room, and I have to go out. I have to wipe away my tears and smile, and pretend like nothing is, nothing's wrong.
And how do you manage with work? I mean, have you to cut your hours?
I had to cut my hours, to 18.5 because I couldn't get childminders. Nobody wants to work the hours that nurses do. Nurses don't want to work the hours that nurses do. We do 13-hour shifts. So I cut my hours to 18.5 hours, and I didn't get the carers allowance based on €1.89. So I've appealed that. So financially, it has been quite difficult, actually. Just doing the 18.5 hours, it's kind of, it's difficult. I can, you can imagine.
And since we last spoke, have you been speaking again to local representatives? And if so, what are they telling you at this point?
Well, there was no response back from one. I don't want to mention his name now. I don't want to talk negative about anybody, but he hasn't. I don't know if he's working behind the scenes. Actually, I might actually give him a ring and ask him and keep on him. I just feel like you have to pester people into doing what or what I usually say is that, can I kindly remind you? So I know it's me again, here I am again, the principals know me now on a first name basis, so they do, and they're on their knees, they're struggling as well, and they're, you're legally not allowed to disallow somebody into school. In the mainstream, you're not. Did I say that even right? You have to.
Yeah, sure.
Either accept them if they're in the parish, but that's only last resort. And then homeschooling them is the third option. And I don't know what I'll do if I don't have my nurse. My nursing is the only thing that's keeping me going. Actually, I love my job.
Right, and if you had to homeschool, Jace, obviously you couldn't work.
No, you could. No, you couldn't. And all of this is the only social life I have.
Of course,
actually.
it is. Yeah.
And I put my whole heart and soul into nursing. But I'm even sad that I even had to reduce my hours because I work in Medical 4, and it's such a beautiful ward, and there's lovely people in it. At the moment I'm working in Guiney. I had to get permission to take a few minutes off to talk to you about.
Thank you for doing that. I'm not sure if Leanne was speaking to you about the response she got from the National Council for Special Education, but some of it is interesting. They said they couldn't speak about individual cases and all of that, but they went on to say, however, we strongly encourage any parent experiencing difficulty with securing a special education placement to engage directly with our special education needs organisations. You've done all of this. This is no help. This is no help to you really whatsoever.
Actually, would you believe it? I went to two different ones, two different CNOs, and to the team manager. I went further afield even, and they're giving you direction, but they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. With these letters, you see, they're after, if one thing in the letter, if a letter in the letter is off, then the criteria is a bust, like. So the letters, and then trying to get psychologists when there's no psychologists available in North Tipperary. I've been waiting 8 weeks. I was waiting. I was just lucky that Kieran in presentation was able to get the psychologist to go to the school to amend that letter. My friend Vanessa, she had to pay €700, and that's money that she won't see back now. That's money that I can't afford, but I don't know if she could afford it either, but she had to pay it to try amend a letter that after the amendment of the letter it still wasn't good enough. So her son is on the not severe case, but kind of intermediate to severe, if you know what I mean. There's a spectrum, and it's very hard, it's very difficult. So she's been finding it hard. She could end up with the child climbing on the fridge, so that's quite advanced autism, And
it's lovely to see, Jessica, even with your own troubles, you have empathy for others, which is lovely. I know that Leanne made contact with the Department of Education as well. Now, seemingly they said they will review the case and they will come back to us with an update and a statement, but sure, we won't hold our breath. And before I let you go back to work, what are you making of all that nonsense around the SNAs and the government, kicking that whole issue down the road again? But
to be honest with you, I don't think... I don't know what they're going to do. I think it's just everything is going to have a knock-on effect, and we're only going to be in the midst of it, and we're going to realise that this is the wrong way to do it, and people are going to suffer, and especially our children, and our children are the most important for our future, and if we don't mind our children, our future is in trouble. So I just, with everything that's going on in the world, I can only deal with what's on mine. There's your business, my business, and God's business. And if you don't narrow it down, you can get very, the anxiety is wicked. But I do feel so sorry for those people. The SNAs are under severe, immense pressure, and they have a tough enough job, and then if they come into difficulty, if they get hit or if they get hurt in their job, then there's no compensation and they lose their job. They should be looked after. They should be minded, really. But
all right. Well, Jessica, we'll keep in touch. We'll see what we get from the department, but we'll let you get back to work. But thank you so much for making time for us, and my best to Jace. And thanks very much.
Thanks for allowing me on again, and hopefully I won't have to talk to you again. No offence.
No offence taken, Jessica. None whatsoever. You look after yourself, though. Look after yourself.
Bye now.
Bye. That's Jessica speaking to us from her job there at Tipperary University Hospital. Now, Eileen Doherty first joined us on the show last year after her grandson was left without a school place for that school year. At the time, she told us the fight was already on to secure a place for him for the 2026 school year. And Eileen joins me again. Good morning to you, Eileen.
Morning, Fran. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. Will you give us an update about Jamie? What's the story at this point, Eileen?
No. I have to say, I already heard the end of Jessica's interview there, but my heart goes out to her. But, I can see the decision. But anyway, sorry. Now, Jamie didn't get in again this year. But having said that, we're not... Last year when I spoke to you, the first interview, we were on our knees. We were, like Jessica's now, we were on our knees. We didn't know whether to turn right or left, because Jamie was in a unit that wasn't suitable for his needs. Now, since I've done the 2 interviews with you, Jamie has come on so much. So we got a letter there last Friday week to say Jamie didn't get into Scolenga this year. But, the blow wasn't as severe as it could have been, because Jamie, for the first time in a long time, Jamie is settled. He's getting on so well in the unit. Now, Fran, the unit is not suitable for Jamie long term.
Yes.
Now the end goal is Jamie will get into Scolenga. When we don't know, he was 11th on the list last year. He's 9th this year now, even though he didn't get a place. But the letter Chloe got the letter last week, and it was absolutely soul gutting, to get another rejection letter for a 7-year-old. And the letter stated that the reason he didn't get in was oversubscribing. Which is crazy.
And this is no fault. This is no fault of the school. This is all about just
absolutely none.
No,
absolutely none. It's the system.
Yeah.
I think there was. I could be a bit wrong, but I think there was 48 children in for 8 places. That's crazy. Like I said, it's the system is totally wrong. Like Jamie, we're in a good position now, even though it's not suitable for Jamie's needs long term, but the unit he's in Luke's school have gone above and beyond, to accommodate Jamie.
Fantastic school, of course, yeah.
absolutely. And that's what I'd say to people who are in the position we were in, that they got rejection letters saying we're not in special school, but you went to a unit, and they're thinking my child is non-verbal. He's not going to suit a unit. But Jamie, we thought that last year, but Jamie's come on so much. But like I say, the end result is Jamie needs a special school. And so our site will be on again next year for us.
Of course. And when you heard all that nonsense about the SNAs and the relocations there, and the government kind of washing its hands of that and saying it wasn't signed off by Cabinet and all of that, what were you thinking, Eileen, at that point?
Oh, crazy. Like, I worked for 23 and a half years as an SNA in Scoil-Cormac. And, like, the SNAs, schools, units, the whole lot, none of them can work without an SNA, And like when I started first, there was only 2 SNAs, one for Scoil-Aengus and one for Scoil-Cormac. And like the workload was huge then, but it's even now you've SNAs in most classes and the workload is even 10 times worse. And to try and take an SNA from a child who needs it, that's just mind-boggling.
And what does that say to you about the priorities of the government where disability in general is concerned, do you think?
Absolutely. I was looking at Eric's reports the other evening, and they were talking about special schools and disabilities. Yeah. There was about 10 TDs in the Dáil for that debate.
And that indicates to you what, Eileen? Just the interest that's in it, is that it?
It's the interest isn't there. They're saying, like, one is saying this thing, and then they're passing the buck. And the buck doesn't lodge with anybody. Like I've been, like I told you before, I've been on to every single TD and senator in the country. And I've gotten letters back from a lot of them, emails back from a lot of them. But I think there's only about Michael Moynihan and Michael Murphy and Clonmel and Seamus Healy. They're the only ones I've really had contact, by phone with.
Yes.
Like Michael Moynihan's Junior Minister for Special Ed now, he's very good and very proactive, I find anyway. He was very helpful with us. But it's just, the places aren't there. And I said it to you before, like this bike shed, putting all that money into a bike shed where you could be opening a couple of more classes in special schools.
But we're hearing about the waste of money time and time and time again.
Yeah. It makes no sense at all. I mean, a couple of more, like Jamie, a couple of more classes in Scoil-Aengus would have given Jamie a place as well as other children.
Yeah.
But they're just not, it's just not there. They're just not putting, I don't know why they're not putting the money into it, because it's, like when I was working in Scoil-Cormac, we only had a few autistic children. Now, I know it's an awful thing, but every second child seems to be autistic, or a lot of, it's more prevalent, as are other disabilities. They should be putting more money into it, not taking money away from us.
And why do you think we're not having a conversation? I mean, this is your observation now, and you're on the coalface of this. Why aren't we having a conversation about the fact that we have so many more cases of neurodivergency and autism and the like? Why do you think we're not discussing that?
Well, you see, we are. In one sense, like yourselves and other stations, they're discussing it. Then the TDs are, it's just platitudes most of the time. Like I've seen Seamus Healy bring it up in the Dáil, and it's fine, they're debating it and all, and then it's kind of brushed away again. And then somebody else, you've protests, and it's in the forefront again. And then, it's sad because people have to protest all the time for what's fundamental rights of, special children, special needs children, adults, young adults, whatever. Like, you have to fight tooth and nail for it. And, like, parents of special needs children are the bravest of the country. The minute they open their eyes in the morning, they have a fight in their hands. It might be just getting the children out of the house and onto a bus or onto a car or into school. And then to have all these things put in their place as well to stop them from getting the education that they deserve. And it's not just the education, it's the other services, And
as you know, with Jamie, the earlier there's an intervention, the better the result with these
Absolutely.
kids.
This is absolutely, I mean, the lads now, as have other parents, and like Jessica said before, people can't afford to be paying out €500 and €700. Like the lads paid $750 to have Jamie assessed when he was 3. And at that stage, there was a waiting list of 6 years, so Jamie would be 9 by the time he'd have an assessment. And like, Jamie is 7 now. If he had to wait until he was 9 to be assessed, I dread to think how he'd be now. Now he still has his moods, and he's still, he's not a miracle child, but he has come on so much, but he still needs a special school. But he's happy where he is now, so it wasn't as soul destroying to get the letter last week as it was this time last year. But it's still soul destroying for us and other families to get a rejection letter for a 7-year-old. It's just mind-boggling.
And again, I can hear the frustration in your voice. And Jamie is lucky that you are helping greatly too, Eileen, because not everybody has an extended family. I mean, when we were talking earlier on with Jessica, she's a mum struggling on her own, and
Yeah, and it's terrible because, like I say, from the minute they get up in the morning, you have a fight on your hands. Like, it might be today, everything might go smoothly. Jamie might get up, go out, get on the bus and all. Tomorrow it could be a different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
And, and the parents, they have, and then to be turned and look and say, like a mainstream child, you can say, well, they're going to preschool, then they're going to X, Y, or Z school when they're finished.
There's a path laid out for them, yeah.
There's a path laid out right up to, like, our Kaylee now, she's 10. She's in the Gael School at the minute. Now, she knows she's picking her secondary schools now, even though she's not going for another 2 years. But that's a progression that's going to happen, hopefully. But with Jamie, he's in the unit now, and he's doing so much better than he was, and I can't emphasise enough how much Luke's school and the principal has, helped him in that sense. But he still does need the special school. And even if he doesn't get into special school, then when he finishes Luke, it's sixth class. Where does he go? That's where the parents are in trouble, because...
And that's a whole other ball game then.
Absolutely, completely another ball game. Because you can't... Like I say with Kaylee, we can really kind of plan her parents for her up to the time she leaves school. With Jamie, he's in Luke's school now. He's doing so much better. But he needs the special school, whether it be in September 2027, which it looks like now, or 28 even.
Eileen, I must leave it there, but we will continue to check in with you, Eileen, just to see how progress is going, and hopefully there will be a progress. But good to talk to you. My best to Jamie and your family. Thanks, Eileen.
Thanks, Fran. Thanks, Amelia.
Thank you. Bye-bye to you now. Listen around to say, because I was speaking to Jessica earlier on, who is a nurse, and one of our listeners saying, Fran, I know that lady Jessica, she's dealt with me in the hospital before. She is a fantastic nurse. My heart is broken listening to her speak this morning, and her boy is such a handful for her, but she's a great mother. Our government are clueless. Those children there should be no fighting to get them a place. Our world is gone so bad. We are so backward, Fran. And it's so sad to listen to 083 311 3311.
Tipp FM's Tipp Today.
With Slattery's Garage, Puck On. Main Peugeot dealers in the Premier County. And now stocking the full range of the luxury French car brand DS Automobiles. Book your test drive today with Slattery's Garage, Puck On. See slatterysgarage.ie.
If it matters to you, it matters to us. Call Tipp today on 1-800-938-007.
Now, following on from our conversation with Bernie Goldbach yesterday about the attacks on Iran from Israel and from America, Paul Lafford, who's a regular contributor to the show, was in touch, and he joins me now. Good morning to you, Paul.
Good morning, Alan. You knew I was going to do that.
I'm never going to live that down. You know that?
No, never.
Never going to live that down. But anyway, thanks, Paul, for coming on with us. You say you hope those maniac bastards all roast in hell for eternity. That's strong stuff, Paul.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'll make no apologies, Fran, for being a peacenik. I've spoken to you many times about it. And for instance, I'm opposed to the US use of Shannon. Our neutrality to me is sacrosanct. And at the same time, my only military experience is playing Call of Duty on my Xbox. So but Fran, we grew up in very, very troubled times in this country. Every night there was another atrocity. And that's why, as a consequence, that's why I value peace, in particular in this country. And just to put this into context, just before Christmas, I was at a function down in Cork, and the launch of his book, The Bass Player, by Stephen Travers, who had survived the Miami massacre. And, it's when you were talking to Gabe Razzle yesterday morning. By the way, I loved that segment in your show. I just loved it.
I'm delighted to hear it, Paul. Thank you.
Yeah, really, I absolutely love listening to the stories. But listen to Gay talking to you yesterday morning. The night I was down in Cork at the book launch of Stephen Travers, Gareth O'Callaghan, your counterpart in radio, spoke. And he spoke about in 1992. Now, bear in mind, Fran, you were probably playing in the north of Ireland at that time.
Sure.
And over and back and so was Gabe Razzle. But he was playing in Crossmaglen. He was doing a function in Crossmaglen. And on his way home, he got hopelessly lost. And he said the mountains should have been behind him or in front of him. And he just didn't know where he was going. So he stopped anyway in a bus stop to try, and he had only a very, very basic one of the old mobile phones, no sat-nav or Google Maps. And a car pulled in behind him with the headlights on. And somebody walked up beside his car and tapped on the window and told him to get out to keep his hands where he could see them. So he got out, and the person there had a balaclava on and had a gun. Asked him who he was, where he was going. He told me, he said, look, he said, your man said, open the boot of your car. And he said, all that's in there is DJ stuff, he said. So your man said, open it. And he said, will you put down the gun, please? He said, he was a little bit scared. A bit scared.
Yeah.
So your man, anyway, lowered his gun and he opened the boot of the car, and your man saw there was nothing in it. And he said, if you had kept going down that road a few more miles, he said, you'd been found tomorrow morning with a bullet in your head.
My God.
Now, friend, that at that time, you were probably playing in the North of Ireland. This was 1992.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And as I said, listen to Gay, and that's why I said, that's why, Fran, listen to Stephen Travers, a man who I greatly and greatly admire that night and had the pleasure of meeting on a few occasions. When he survived, himself and Des Lee, when they survived the Miami massacre, they weren't supposed to survive, because if they hadn't survived, if they had been killed that night, all the Irish bands, all the show bands, including yourself, Fran, travelling over that border would have been labelled as terrorists.
Yeah.
That you were carrying bombs.
For sure. Well, the propaganda out around the time, in fact, some of what they said about the Miami was just so
shocking,
absolutely
and shocking, and how they put so many hurdles in the way of people like Stephen Travers and we said the Truth and Reconciliation and all that, and how they try to stop them. But anyway, Fran, as I said, that was just for context. But that's why I value peace, Fran.
Yeah.
Like a few years ago, I cycled all around Northern Ireland. We stayed in Belfast. There was a time, Fran, that wouldn't happen. You couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So that's why, as I said, that's why I value peace so much. And I know that was a long-winded way of going about it.
But very valid all the same. In your piece to us, you pick out, the schoolgirls who were murdered, and I think it was largely by Israeli bombing, as far as I can ascertain. It's sort of is it gone under the radar to some extent?
Totally.
Yeah.
Your friend, the other night when I was at home watching, I was flicking through. I always watch Channel 4 News every night at 7:00.
Yes.
And needless to say, they were leading with the incidents in Iran. And then I flicked over to Sky News, and of course they were salivating at the fact that the Brits might get involved in it. They love this kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
BBC, I think BBC have lost a lot of listenership, and then RTE. But even Tuesday morning, we say when Pat does the news, the first person I hear every morning is Pat doing the news there at 9:00. But every single news station were running with this story, or with the incidents in Iran, but there wasn't a mention of the fact that 165 children, mainly children aged between 8 and 14, schoolgirls, were murdered. And that's what happened. Like, they weren't, you come on and say, oh, they were killed, it was collateral damage. They love these nice words. They were murdered. And I was just thinking, Fran, imagine the outcry or the condemnation if the Russians did that in Ukraine. Or imagine if Hamas did it in Tel Aviv. Or, God forbid, after what I've already spoken about, imagine if it happened in Omagh or in Belfast or Derry. And there was hardly a single condemnation of it, Fran. And you know, I was looking up on this, it was the worst single crime against humanity since World War II. It was worse than anything that happened, for instance, in the horrors of Vietnam. That's how horrible and how devastating and disgusting and abhorrent this was. And we haven't had a mention. Hardly a mention. We've hardly had a word of condemnation from any world government, any of them. Now, like, this war, right, this war, it's illegal. It's based on lies, and my own opinion, I can't prove this, of course, Fran. To me, this is a distraction from the filth and the depravity of the Epstein files. Nothing will convince me otherwise, and I don't care what people say. There was no authorization from the US Congress. There was no vote at the UN. There was actually supposed to be a peace meeting. Apparently, peace meetings between the United States and Iran were actually going well.
Yeah.
And there was supposed to be a meeting on Monday this week in Vienna. That's how well it was going. Like, I mean, they were doing well. But it's the exact same as the invasion of Iraq. It was lies. The same with Afghanistan. Like, none of the hijackers, for instance, of 9/11 came from any of these countries. They came from Saudi Arabia. Iraq didn't have WMDs. It was
weapons of mass destruction, yeah.
Mass destruction. The UN already has declared that Iran had no nuclear program of note. It had no plans to attack anybody. And they're using the exact same excuse to attack a sovereign nation as Putin used. And look at what happened with Putin. Look at the way Russia was absolutely ostracized. And you have to say, quite rightly so, that it should be. Like, I mean, no attack on any sovereign nation is acceptable. And I'm not trying to say, for instance, that, we'll mourn Khomeini. He's small loss, and all his henchmen, and hopefully a few more of the bastards to be gone. But another thing that really troubles me with all this, Fran, where are all the religious groups? Where's all these religions all over the world?
In terms of speaking out, you mean, Paul, is it?
Exactly. Where's the Pope?
Well, in fairness, the Pope a couple of days ago did speak out. Just subtle enough now, but he did speak out against.
Why aren't they calling these people together and knocking heads together?
I don't know.
They'll come along and now look, my opinions on religion are well and truly well known at this stage. But they're going to say, there's all this God, and apparently this all loving God and all this. As one of my favourite comedians, Kevin Bridges, said, he's after losing the dressing room at this stage. And every night I go down to the graveyard in Care and I see all the lovely, good people that were taken from us. And nothing happens to all these bastards. Excuse my language again, Fran, my apologies. But it's just always the innocent, isn't it? When we were in Russia back in 2007, I remember Caroline brought in nappies into the baby home, and one of the workers there started crying because nappies meant she just couldn't believe that a person could walk in with boxes of nappies. And yet, a few miles away, they had their annual military exhibition that takes place in Omsk every year. If you want to start a war, that's the place you go to buy your attack helicopters and missile launchers. But that's the difference between, it's always the people at the bottom. So that's why the likes of Trump and Putin and that bastard Netanyahu, even though I'm not religious, if there's a day of reckoning, Fran, I hope they roast, and I hope they see the face of every innocent child they've murdered.
Morris was on to us and he said you didn't mention the Iranians, the thousands of Iranians that were slaughtered 2 months ago by the Iranian government. These were the Iranians who protested against Khomeini and the like. But I know you're conscious of all that when you spoke about the schoolgirls and obviously, you know, when Hamas went into Israel and the slaughter there and of course the genocide then in Gaza. You're aware of all of that, but the point you're making is that one single atrocity that it has gone under the counter largely.
Totally. Again, if that happened in Kiev, imagine the outcry. Or if that happened in Tel Aviv, if that happened in London, God forbid, or indeed if it happened here, can you imagine? But is it that, like, you know, I listened to your one, Jesus, yesterday morning, Fran. I felt sorry for you listening to your one.
Cynthia, was it?
Oh, Jesus. That was tough going, like, it really was. And, like, listen to, like, I mean, you know, where she's, like, as it was tough going, like, I mean, that, for instance, that Russia plans to invade Europe. Like, I mean, what intelligence is she? Now, I know using intelligence and her in the same sentence isn't right.
I know.
But, like, seriously, sorry, because this is the kind of people that you get. This is what we're faced.
What do you mean? She's representing us out there? Is that it?
This is the kind of people we have. Like, I mean, how come, for instance, that if the likes of her, what intelligence reports?
Well, I'm more than out of time. But quickly, let me put to you what she said. I mean, you know, I was talking about the 90 billion that has been committed to Ukraine, and a lot of that money can be used to buy arms to continue on the war, I guess. And I put that to her, like, you know, how moral that was. So what do you make of that as a pacifist?
I think it's absolutely. There are so many people who are paid really, really well to negotiate these things, to sit down and negotiate peace. As I said, Fran, I spoke about what we grew up with in our country, and thank God we have some bit of peace today. And there was both sides had to sit back and take on an awful lot of unpalatable stuff, and unpalatable decisions were made. It had to be done for the sake of peace. So these people, these warmongers, and these, as I said, people, I look at Helen McEntee. I mean, she's a thoroughly decent, genuinely lovely person. I say she hasn't a bad bone in her body. She's totally out for depth. Totally. And all of these people are. And as I said, look, I know you're way over your time, but I just think, Fran, it's absolutely disgusting. Right. And I think the whole world, every one of us, are standing by. And if people like me just get out and get 10 minutes here in the morning to speak out, you know what? I don't care what people think of me.
All right, Paul. Good to talk to you today, and thanks for your time. Thanks for coming on. News is on the way.
Tipp FM's Tipp Today.
With Slattery's Garage, Puck On. Main Peugeot dealers in the Premier County. And now stocking the full range of the luxury French car brand DS Automobiles. Book your test drive today with Slattery's Garage, Puck On. See slatterysgarage.ie.
Tipp FM's Tipp Today.
With Slattery's Garage, Puck On. It's time to change. Test drive the award-winning range of Peugeot hybrids and fully electric vehicles at Slattery's Garage today. See slatterysgarage.ie.
Concerns have been raised by business owners in Cashel about the state of public lighting in the town. A group of them has written to local representatives outlining the issue, and former county councillor, regular contributor to the show, Tom Wood, joins me now. Good morning to you, Tom.
Good morning, Fran, from a sunny Cashel.
I'm delighted to hear it, Tom. What is the background on this, Tom?
Yeah, the background, Fran, is that last summer the lights at the lower end of Main Street, when I talk about the lower end, I'm talking about, we'll say, the junction at John Street corner right down to the fountain at Lower Gate. Those public lights, they were changed and they were brought up to what they put in these LED lights. Originally it was done some time back on the upper part of Main Street as well. But as the winter set in, residents in this part of the Main Street began to complain about the poor quality of the lighting. And I mean, I'm living here myself on the Main Street in that section, and it was definitely, the quality was very, very poor in comparison even to the older lighting that we had prior to the change about 6 months ago. So as people started to kind of complain to me about it, I got onto the council and we didn't get any response. So then early in February, other people started asking me about it. So we suggested then that we would compile a letter and send it in to the council itself, to the section responsible for the public lighting, and also to the public representatives in the Cashel area. So the letter was compiled, and the local residents in this part of the main street and business people, they all signed it. And the content of it, Fran, is just that we wish to bring to your attention the poor quality of public lighting erected at the lower end of Main Street, Cashel. That's between Lower Gate Street, Main Street, Upper, and the junction with John Street. We are aware of the programme of installing new LED lights in urban areas. However, the ones recently installed do not have the brightness necessary to adequately light the street properly. This is compounded by the distance between poles and the increasing width of the street as you move up through the town centre. Other lights outside junction with the car park, the Buckley car park, have been repositioned, and they now face parallel to the street rather than originally where they were actually shining light onto the street. So basically we were saying, look, it's actually dangerous. It's very, very dark. It's as you know yourself, Fran, it's a very, very busy street, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So we felt that the quality was very poor. So then a short time later, a response came back then, and Councillor Burgess had received a letter from the council, and it said, I have examined the letter submitted and have requested that the consultants review the design and revert back with any findings. Prior to any lights being changed to LED, the contractor carried out surveys of each street light to be upgraded. In this, the location and height of each light was recorded. With this information, lighting designs were done by lighting consultants to determine what strength of light is required and the light spread. And then, of course, they carried out the review then, Fran, and it says, in carrying out this review, they checked what was installed on Lower Main Street and to determine if the correct lights were installed. This has shown that one light located outside the former Bank of Ireland building had a street light fitted that was 7 watts lower than the required lighting, and this was going to be corrected. The other lights, it said, on Main Street that were upgraded to LED were confirmed to match what was required in the lighting design. So that's basically where we've got to on that, Fran. They're quite happy, seemingly, that what they wanted to install has been installed, but anybody will tell you here, and in particular the residents who are living here, many of them living here all their lives, will say that the lighting today was never as bad. It was better back in the olden days.
It's incredible, but the gist of the letter is, well, look, that's that.
That's the gist of the letter. So we have to try and find another route. We were thinking recently, Fran, that we might have to get somebody, maybe, someone from outside to just basically check on them. And in the letter we put in, because this is really, you can visualise it yourself. We said the situation that we have outlined is reminiscent of times in the late 70s, early 80s, when Cashel Urban District Council had to request shopkeepers to leave window lights on at night to alleviate a similar problem that we are referring to now in 2026. And I'll tell you this, Fran, I'm living here on the Main Street, and only for 3 or 4 premises over the winter months that did leave their lights on in their shop windows, we would even have been in a worse position.
Isn't that incredible? And where these LED lights are concerned, are they adjustable in terms of brightness? Do you know, Tom, or how does that work?
No, I mean, even during last night, knowing that I was coming on with you this morning, and now we're into the spring of the year, and you'd say, well, things could be maybe a little bit better now. But even early this morning, the street outside our area here was in darkness. And it's just, Fran, when you look at them, they're very, very high up on the poles, number one, much, much higher, you can see, than maybe the normal ones would have been years ago. But the quality of the lighting that's coming through them, it doesn't come across the street at all. And as was mentioned in our letter, Fran, where I'm living here, we'll say the street is very wide,
Yeah.
and you have, so the lighting isn't sufficient to even cross to the middle of the road. And then from we'll say Super Value right down to the end of the town, right down to the lower gate end, on the left-hand side there, on the south side, there is no public light at all. There's 3 or 4 on the other side. In total, Fran, we're only talking about 8 public lights from John Street corner here right down to the fountain at Lower Gate. Just 8 in question, that's all.
And other towns, are they using a similar setup with those LED thingies?
Well, we know that this is a plan that has been put in place over the last couple of years, and they have started changing lighting and other. I don't know if people have had a similar problem, but
is it to save money, Tom? Is it about saving money?
No, well, I mean, at the end of the day, I presume that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And I suppose to save maintenance of them, I presume that with these LED lights that you don't have to attend to them as often as people would in the past. Like the ESB used to come out and we used to say change the bulb, but I mean the bulb, the bulb, Fran, was much brighter than what we have in Cashel here on the main street at the present time. Now, they did argue that, the upper part of Main Street is much brighter. It has the LED lights the same as we have. But they have additional ones. They have a lot more up there, Fran, because of the plaza and all that area there. There's extra lighting there. But if one of them goes out, which it has over the winter, if any of them go wrong, you can see even up there the darkness. And we're lucky here in Cashel that there are so many people still living on the main street. That has to be taken into account. It's not just a business street where everything closes at 5:30 in the evening and there's nobody living here. We are all living here on
and
the
a
main
lot of towns
street,
would aspire to that, having that.
I know, and it's great that there are so many people that are living here. So, when it was residents that started to question the quality of the lighting, as I said, when the autumn came in and then we got into the winter, and as that happened then, and as more people complained, well, we decided then we'd draft the letter. So we'll have to try and take some other avenue in relation to it, because we can't really head into another winter with that inferior quality of public lighting, because as you know yourself, Fran, streets are very busy now. They're busy 24 hours a day. If you look out the window here at any time during the night, 1 a.m., 3 a.m., 5 a.m., there's always somebody walking up and down the street. There's traffic on the street. They're going to the ATM machines, etc., etc. So it's really important that they realise, and I hope that some of these people who make the decision, that they will come in the dark of night, not in the daytime, and switch them on and see, or check them to see that they're up to the degree that they're meant to be at, whatever degree it is. It's to be here when the lighting is on in the middle of winter at night time, and to see the inferior quality that is there.
All right, Tom, well, we'll continue to follow the story. Thanks for coming on with us, Tom.
Thank you very
Pleasure
much.
as always.
Okay,
thank you. Good
bye.
morning to you. Tom Wood there in Cashel. Somebody else telling me the lighting up around the green in Cashel is also diabolical, so that will be up close to the hospital area there. 083 311 3311.
Tipp FM's Tipp Today.
With Slattery's Garage, puck on. It's time to change. Test drive the award-winning range of Peugeot hybrids and fully electric vehicles at Slattery's Garage today. See slatterysgarage.ie.
Tipp FM's Tipp Today.
With Slattery's Garage, puck on. Over half a century driving the people of Tipperary and surrounding areas with quality, reliable and economical vehicles, new and used. Call the sales team today to discuss your next car or van on 067 24 111.
Thanks, Pat, and welcome back to the second hour of Tipp Today. Lots coming in on lighting following my chat there with Tom Wood in Cashel, and one of our listeners saying that in Care, seemingly they changed the lighting at one stage or other of last year, and the lighting is very, very poor there as well. I'm just trying to find the various pieces that came into us where that is concerned. I walk my dog in Thurles every evening. I find the lighting in the town is very poor as well. Sometimes modernity is not as good as what we had years ago. Thurles is every bit as bad, Fran, as Cashel with the lights. So bad you wouldn't see somebody at a pedestrian crossing. It is so dangerous as a Thurles listener to us today. And somebody else saying street lighting in the housing estate in Feathert is very bad. They used to be a lot brighter. Now it's like it's on a dim setting. Well, it's gone to, I presume, like the other lighting, it's switched to LED lighting at the moment. Fran, I live in Cormac Drive in Nina. The bulbs on the lampposts are very dim. You can't see in front of you. It's very dangerous for women, particularly walking on their own. And I had an experience only last Tuesday night, just after 9 o'clock, that made me feel very uncomfortable. I was talking to a person who I didn't recognise because of the darkness, and it left me feeling very, very unsafe indeed. All right, so that's the response where the lighting is a concern. A big response to my chat there with Paul Lafford just before the news as well. Why doesn't your caller Paul wish that the power in Iran would roast as well? They're the same as Trump and Putin. Surely he's very selective. Now, here I am speaking for Paul Lafford, who's well able to speak for himself, but I know that, like me, he's an old hippie and he doesn't agree with war or with killing under any circumstances, so I can assure you about that. Now, in the first hour of the show, we heard from Jessica about her young son and from Eileen about her grandson as their families fight for suitable special school placements for the two boys. Samantha Bray also faced this stark reality last year when she joined us on the show, and she's with me now for an update on her son Oisín's education journey. Good morning to Samantha.
Hello, how are you?
And good to talk to you today, and thank you very much. I remember how upset and stressed you were last year, Samantha, but I think you might have had a good result.
Yeah, it was really, really hard. I'll never forget it. But it paid off in the end, thank God.
Yeah.
He's getting on really, really well.
So he got a place in Skull Cormac, didn't he?
He got a place in Skull Cormac in Cashel.
Yeah.
And even his communication is coming on. Like he's still non-verbal, but his communication way, it's like he will pass me his shoes and his jacket because he wants to go to school, even on a Saturday or Sunday. He'll pass me his school bag because he wants to go.
So he loves it.
Yeah, he's horse riding now, and even he had a fear of water, and they started bringing him swimming. So the first day he didn't get in the pool, the second day he did. So, and he's able to spell big words, like, even though he can't like speak, he can write. So he's coming on really, really good.
Isn't it fantastic? And the whole social interaction as well. You say he even enjoys the bus journeys, for example, Samantha.
Oh yeah. So like the bus, he will run onto the bus. It's very hard to get him off the bus in the evening. But he will stand outside the door, and even if it's raining, until the bus leaves the estate. And his principal was telling me that there's 42 buses go to the school every morning, and Oisín will not go inside until all 42 buses have left.
He just loves to watch the buses, is it, too?
Yeah, and he loves to make sure they're gone before he goes inside.
Isn't it incredible? But it's made all the difference so far, Samantha.
Yeah, I rarely have a bad day with him. He's just so good.
So I presume you feel for, I'm not sure if you had a chance to listen to our earlier conversations, but I presume you feel for the parents who are still struggling for those places.
It's awful. It's absolutely awful. The stress, the worry, and then like last year, like I remember saying to the casino, so what if Oisín doesn't get a space this year? He's like, try again next year, the year after. And I was like, oh, so he could be 8, 9, starting junior infants with 5 and 6 year olds. You know, it's not fair. And
as I said earlier on, we're all aware at this point that the earlier there's an intervention, the better the result with these kids.
Oh yeah, way better, way better. Like Oisín, even though he can't speak, I can understand exactly what he wants.
Yeah.
And I think anyone that even babysits him could understand what he wants, because he'll place your hands on something, or he'll put something on your lap, and he'll bring you to where he wants to go. You know, he's good. Like.
So it's made a difference to the family as well, I guess.
Yeah. And sure, I had this year with my other son. Then he's autism as well, but he doesn't need a special school, so it wasn't as hard to get him into a unit.
Yes. And where is he now, Samantha? What school is he in?
He's in Stepping Stones at the minute in Clonmel, but they were going to keep him for an extra year because he's so young. He's only 4. But in Ardfinnan, they had 4 spaces in the unit this year. They only have 1 next year. So I was like, I'll apply for it when there's 4 spaces. So he got a space.
My God. So, I mean, in the coming years, SNAs will be very important to him, for example. What are you making of what you heard about the whole debacle around SNAs?
SNAs, I think it's absolutely awful, because it doesn't matter, like, if a child has autism or whatever they have, they need the help in school to get them through the day. They need the breaks from the classrooms. I went in there before Christmas. I did the SNA course myself.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, to try to help the lads myself, and then I'm doing an intellectual disability course now. So
you'll be qualified to help your own boys then? Is that?
Yeah. That's what I did it for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you learn a lot, like, especially with the education system, like it's actually law breaking what they're doing, because every child has the right to education, and that's not what's happening at all. It's opposite.
And interaction with local representatives and stuff, did you get help from them over the time?
Yeah, Masha McGrath helped me a lot.
Yeah. And
then I had this, this woman, she worked for the courts up in Dublin.
Yeah.
She was a solicitor, and she said, I'll help you free of charge.
Yeah.
So she helped me a lot. She kept getting on to, she was going actually taking the Minister of Education to court if she did get a school space.
Was that the game changer, do you think, that threat of bringing the department or bringing the government to court? Do you think that was a game changer?
I think so, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Masha McGrath saying to me, we'll go up to meet the Minister of Education now next week. He didn't know that I was going to take the Minister of Education to court.
Yeah.
Because I didn't say that, but he said I'll set up a meeting with him. But
and did you meet him, Samantha?
No. Literally, 2 days later, she got a space.
It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it down to how hard you fight and how tough you become yourself, if you know what I mean?
It's like it ruined a lot of months, because even when I applied to when he got the space, the worry and just it'd make yourself sick, with worry, and it just ruined a lot of months. Like, because that's all I could think about was getting him into school space. I couldn't think of anything else.
Yeah. When I was talking to Jessica earlier on, I mean, that emerged from the conversation. I mean, she is so stressed. She is kind of unwell herself at the moment because of that. You know, she's so upset, and yeah.
If she gets on to me, I could give her the number for that solicitor to help me, because she'll help anyone.
Well, if it's okay with you, we'll put the two of you in touch. The battle never stops, though. I mean, when your boys hit 18, for example, it becomes a different ball game altogether. Then, doesn't it?
There's no help for him at all. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll have another big fight on my hands, I'd say, for the whole of his life.
Yeah.
And the biggest fear then parents like us have is like, oh, if that happens to me, who's going to look after them?
I always hear that when I speak to parents of special needs. And how do you get your head around that, Samantha?
I just literally try to look after myself so that I'll be there for him forever, hopefully.
Yeah. But it's a worry that niggles at the back of your head, is it?
Yeah, you'll be constantly worried. It's hard. It's really hard. Like,
what do you make of the fact that we don't seem able, or we don't seem that we want to help our most vulnerable? What do you make of that? I mean, we're supposed to be awash with money. We seem to be able to give it away and do all sorts of stuff with money.
I think they should be building more special schools and recruiting more SNAs, not getting rid of the ones that we have. And like even, like what you call it, residential settings.
Yes. For respite.
For when they get older.
Yeah.
Or even like the parents say they have more severely disabled children, that they can go in there for respite, and the parents can get that break. But there's nothing. There's actually nothing for people. It's a fight for everything.
And Oisín is absolute proof that if there is intervention, I mean, it can help them tremendously,
100%.
can't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Like he was at the table with me, and he got an AAC device, which is a communication device, for kids that are non-verbal, and he wrote on it alphabet, because he wanted to watch the alphabet on the telly.
And that was that a big moment for you, that communication, was that?
Yeah, it's just so different. He's a different child.
Yeah.
Like, because now he's not upset, or he rarely gets upset.
And he can communicate with you through this device now, is that?
Through that device, or even I know what he wants, because he will take me by the hand and put my hand on, like, his shoes or his bag, or even on the fridge if he wants something to eat, that kind of way.
And had he not been doing that kind of thing before?
Not as much as he is now.
Much, yeah.
Like, he'd never pick up his shoes and put them on my lap. Like, he wanted to go for a spin in the car the other evening, so he picked up his shoes and he put them on my lap, and he picked up his brother's shoes and put them on his brother's lap, because he wanted us all to go for a spin. So,
well, we're delighted for you that you got a good result. It doesn't stop there for you, needless to say, Samantha. It'll be a constant battle, I suppose, but still it was a good result. Really good to talk to you, Samantha. My best to you and your family, and thanks for coming on with me again.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye. That's Samantha speaking to us there about her son Oisín, who has a place in Skullcormac, and by her own description there, it's working out extremely well for them, and I'm absolutely delighted. Brian was on. He says, in relation to your conversation with Paul, the reason why we're not hearing about the schoolgirls and teachers murdered by Israel is because they control the media. It's the same reason that the world has been brainwashed by misinformation by the media to hate Iran. Wake up, people. What you hear is lies. Manufactured consent for Israel and the US to attack and kill innocent people, to control East Asia and the Middle East, says Brian to us today. I'm not sure about that, Brian. Everybody, I would imagine, would be pretty much aware of the evil of Khomeini's regime in Iran and his treatment of his own people. And I suppose we saw that blatantly when the people got out on the streets to protest just some weeks ago, and how they were treated. And depending on who you're listening to, but up to 6,000 or 7,000 people seemingly were killed to put down that attempt at protest or revolution. 1800 938 007.
Tipp FM's Tipp Today.
With Slattery's Garage, puck on. It's time to change. Test drive the award-winning range of Peugeot hybrids and fully electric vehicles at Slattery's Garage today. See slatterysgarage.ie.
Tipp FM's Tipp Today.
With Slattery's Garage, puck on. Main Peugeot dealers in the Premier County. And now stocking the full range of the luxury French car brand DS Automobiles. Book your test drive today with Slattery's Garage, puck on. See slatterysgarage.ie.
Edwina was on to us from the organisation Families Unite for Service and Support. And she's telling us they're holding a free legal information meeting on Wednesday, March the 25th at 8 p.m. And you can make contact with them on FUS Ireland, that's FUSS Ireland, all lowercase, .com, and all of the information is there. But it's a very useful resource, and thanks to Edwina for making contact with us today as well. Social Democrats TD Aidan Farrelly was the subject of a recent article in the Journal where he gave an insight into life as a TD, and he joins me online now. Good morning to you, Aidan.
Hey, Fran. Morning. How are you?
And good to talk to you today, and thanks for coming on with the most interesting article. You felt you were well prepared for politics on the national stage, Aidan, because you served as a councillor for, I think, about 5 years, but you were still taken aback at some aspects of the transition. What surprised you most?
It really has been a whirlwind, Fran, to be honest. I think the time served in the local authority was a real privilege, and you kind of get to see how change can happen at a local and regional level. But the biggest lesson for me at that was essentially it didn't really matter what political party you were in. You had to work together across the board to make sure that things got done. I think in Leinster House at times you can be cast aside, or you can have doors open or closed for you just depending on the party that you're in. And I think that's something that's very different, and ultimately I don't think it serves the people of Ireland very, very well, whether you're in opposition or you're in government, or whether you're in a Green party or in a Sinn Féin party or in a Labour or Fine Gael or Fianna Fáil. It's just very, very different. I'm a pragmatist, I think, at heart, Fran. I just, when there's a problem, let's get around the table and fix it. I think that's probably what would serve us better, but...
Is that because, Aidan, so much of it is theatrical? I mean, we see the jousting in the chamber, for example. Is that playing to the cameras? Is that playing to the audience?
Well, I think there's different settings in Leinster House, and you see very different people in the different settings. So in Floor of the Dáil, it can be at times very theatrical, without, really any difference of an outcome. Whereas when you get to committee stage, but for public accounts, for example, where I sit every Thursday morning, there's a real collaborative sense around the table there, or the children's committee that I'm a member of. That's really where your party membership doesn't matter, and you really do work alongside colleagues from every party and none to make amendments or to discuss different things. So I think there's different elements of it, for sure, and that's been a hugely interesting part of the role for me at committees.
The personal end of it then as well, like the attack from Ivan Yates, for example, were you ready for that? I think he called you soulless and preachy. Were you ready for that? Because this was a guy you didn't know at the time.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't ready for that, to be honest. And look, I like I said in the piece, I don't hold that against him at all. He was doing his job. He was making predictions about the outcome of different elections. He was informed by somebody in Kildare, and at times I've gone, I wonder who would have said that about me, even to him. I'd hate to think that I've ever been that to anybody, to be honest. Coming from the youth work perspective, it's always been about teamwork and relationship building, and to be described as soulless and preachy is not nice. That was just the first really eye-opener for me of what the difference is between national politics and local politics, but it's...
So that notion of needing a thick skin is important, but I mean, I would imagine that's difficult, is it?
Yes, at times it can be, but that's the nature of national politics, and it's only part of it. And to be very, very clear, as a white man, I receive a fraction of the negativity that my female colleagues receive or people from marginalised communities receive. So I'm actually in a very, very privileged position compared to many others who may never even end up on a political stage, such as the deterrent of the negativity that they would receive simply for who they are, So I use this as an opportunity to highlight, certainly it's not a progressive way of doing things to be describing, but my experience is nothing in comparison to many others.
You have a young family, for example, and you've been having a look at how the Dáil does its business. It's certainly not family friendly, is it?
No, and I have three heroes of children. They're amazing. I've got a leaving cert, and then someone who's a lad in second year, and then someone in fourth class. So I've got a lovely mix of kids at home, and when we come home and the door is closed, it doesn't matter whether you're a TD or whatever job you do, your dad when you're at home and your mum when you're at home, and that's just the way it is. The thing about the way the working week is scheduled in there is just completely archaic, and it really is, Fran, from a perspective not just of work-life balance or anything like that, but actually achieving anything. Not to start the Dáil sitting until 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon makes no sense, and then you could be in until 12, half 12 on a Tuesday night, and the same on a Wednesday, and then Thursday. By Thursday morning, most people who live outside of Leinster really are gone because they need to get home, and then there's their constituency work Monday and Friday. I think I proposed a couple of solutions there. I'm no genius on this, but I think we need to sit more weeks, not less weeks.
And controversially, you're saying there should be fewer holidays, Aidan.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm probably echoing the sentiments of many of your listeners this morning in that we need to be in the Dáil many more weeks. And you could do that then on much more kind of reasonable hours. Let's do 9 to 5, Tuesday to Thursday. That just would make much more sense. Sit more weeks. There's many different comparisons. I started kind of looking into how other kind of EU parliaments sit and around the world, and there's definitely different ways of doing it. And I'm pretty convinced at this point that the way we're doing it right now is definitely dysfunctional.
Yeah, the other thing, earlier on this morning, we were speaking to parents and grandparents of children with special needs and just the trials and tribulations that they have almost on a daily basis. But I think it was Jessica who brought up the thing to me. That she was on about a discussion on some aspect of special needs in the Dáil, and she said you could count on one hand, really, the amount of people that were in the chamber for that discussion, a discussion that is so vital to so many people. Is that something you come across all of the time as well?
Definitely, and like before being elected to TD, I used to watch a lot of Dáil TV out of interest, and that was something that struck me. But then when you get in and you see, so for every minute that the Dáil is sitting, there's probably 3 or 4 different committees sitting at the same time. There might be working groups. There might be, so I suppose to infer that TDs aren't working just because they're not sitting in the Dáil to listen to statements. There's probably way more effective things that they can be doing than sitting there. So usually you're there for your speaking slot. So I'm in there with Simon Harris now at lunchtime to ask him questions about a school in Selbridge in County Kildare. But if I was to sit in the Dáil chamber all morning, I won't be at Public Accounts Committee, I won't be at the Children's Committee, I won't. So there's many different things happening at the same time in there. And again, that speaks back to that kind of dysfunction that you're at times you need to be in 3 or 4 different places at once, and then there might be times when you've nothing to be doing and you're waiting on the voting block at 12 o'clock at night, and you're going, you'd love to be home with the kids that night, or it's just it's a unique workplace, and I think for the people of Ireland, I think they'd be better served in a much more kind of
and is there an appetite to change this? I would imagine that probably worked very well when it was almost all male. And, they were away from home and they were probably going back to a hotel. So it didn't seem to matter that they were sitting till all hours of the morning or whatever for a few nights a week. Is there an appetite to change this at this point?
No.
Wow.
Simply put, Fran, there's not.
Wow.
I don't get the sense from anyone that I've spoken to about it. I'm very lucky. I go home to my own bed every night. I don't stay up, and I'm just about close enough to be able to do that.
Yes, you're in Kildare, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So you're talking 40 to 50 minutes to get home. If it's 11 or 12 now, if it's traffic, you can probably double or treble that. But the piece, I think, for anybody that's outside of that, that's where it really becomes difficult. Like to expect people from Cork or even Tipperary possibly to be coming up Tuesday for 9 o'clock as opposed to lunchtime. I think that's where, in reality, that could become a challenge for people, and I accept that, but. We should be striving for something, I think, a little bit different, because who's not at the table, who's not taking their seat in Dáil Éireann or in their local authorities because it's not palatable with a young family or with other work commitments or life commitments. I think we're not really taking stock of that.
From a Soc Dems point of view, can I ask you, because it's been obviously like every other radio and TV station, it's been the talk of the programme for the last few days, what's happening in the Middle East, and where the Soc Dems are concerned. I mean, where do you stand as a party on what's been happening and the attacks by America and Israel on Iran? How are you feeling about that?
Not feeling very, very positive about it at all. I think it's the latest in a long line of troubling and concerning events that have taken place. Specifically concerned with the way in which I think the Irish government have started to handle its repatriation and charter flights of citizens, to kind of put a call out for the most vulnerable people to put themselves forward. You're talking about pregnant women, you're talking about tourists who might be stranded and have had their flights cancelled, but then to be hit with an €800 bill before you're given that ticket home is absolutely a shakedown.
And just for listeners who might be across that, is the front of the Indo today, and we had it on our news bulletins as well, the government charging €800 for a seat on that charter flight from the Middle East, and by your colleague Patricia Stevenson being described as a shakedown, in fact, and not an evacuation. Now, the government is saying on this that they're paying quite a lot of money towards each seat because it's so expensive to charter flights. Does that mean anything to you?
Well, it just shouldn't be a prerequisite for the seat. I mean, I think there's plenty of time to sort out that afterwards. You could communicate that, I think, a lot better.
Just get them out first, is that it?
Exactly. If that's the ultimate fee, you don't want that to be a deterrent for people to stay in a war zone or in an area where their safety is in quite, a perilous situation. We need to make sure that, on a broader note, that we have an opportunity now with Micheál Martin travelling to the US over the next couple of weeks. We have to uphold international law. We have to advocate and lean in to the systems that we have. As imperfect as they are, we have a very proud history of peace, of neutrality, and they're the messages that we're hoping Micheál Martin will take to Donald Trump as United States President.
Yeah, but we know how volatile Donald Trump can be. I mean, does Micheál Martin not have to be pragmatic about this? This is, unique access to the White House every year, Aidan. And there is real politic around this.
Yeah.
We have to be careful of our position, I suppose, in terms of our relationship with the Americans. So,
And I'm acutely aware of that, Fran. In Kildare specifically, we have many
big companies, of course,
and American companies who provide such an important workforce in this county. So I'm very aware of that, and it's certainly not to expect the Taoiseach to go over banging tables or anything like that, but to use his skills and his experience in a very diplomatic way to put the message across that we're not happy. I think we can do that in a way that's respectful, that's professional, but that doesn't just pander to the latest kind of idea that the American president will have. We can see it's chaos right now, and we can see it's very concerning, and it's hitting home now very, very significantly, whether that's the cost it's going to hit us or if we've got friends or family members who are abroad and are concerned. It is a very, very delicate situation, and I just hope that when the Taoiseach has that very privileged opportunity in the next couple of weeks, that he considers it in the round.
Your party leader also made the point that the government must give categoric commitment that Shannon Airport will not be used to launch attacks on Iran as part of the United States and the Israel's, as she described it, illegal war. How do you feel about that Shannon Airport? Because, it has been used in the past.
It has, and that practice must come to an end, Fran. We shouldn't be in a position where we need to facilitate armed forces from America refueling here. We don't want to be any way connected to what is happening in terms of international law being under question or categorically broken. We don't want to do that. We don't need to facilitate that. So we would absolutely echo that call, and we have done continuously to bring an end to that practice.
All right, well, Aidan, interesting conversation. Good to talk to you today, and thanks for your time.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye to you now. That's Social Democrats TD Aidan Farrelly speaking to us there, 1800 938 007. The first part of the conversation with Aidan, how do you feel about that? The role of the TD, how the whole Dáil working week is structured, and the like, could it be better, do you think? What about the holidays? Should they be shorter? Should there be more chamber time? How do you feel about that? 083 311 3311.
If it matters to you, it matters to us. Call Tipp today on 1-800-938 007. Tipp FM's Tipp Today.
With Slattery's Garage Puckon. Now is the time to pick up your next van. From the award-winning Peugeot Partner van to the expert and the load-lugging Boxer van. We have big vans, high-roof vans, long-wheelbase vans. You'll find them all at Slattery's Garage Puckon. See slatterysgarage.ie.
Join the conversation in Tipperary. Contact us through Facebook, Twitter, or email tiptoday@tippfm.com.
And you're very welcome back, and it's time to talk about interior design. And Karen Prendergast is with me. Good morning to you,
Good
Karen.
morning, friend.
It's still raining out there, is it?
It's still raining out there, but I have, today I'm talking about small rooms and any room in the house, how to make them look bigger and brighter. Because I thought when I was coming on this week and the weather was good and I was doing a bit of cleaning out at home and everything, I said, I'm definitely going to brighten up people's day when I come in and have a chat.
And here we are then with the rain back with us as well. I know before we start, you wanted to say something about Skull Cormac.
I did. I just wanted to say
Cashel.
Congratulations to the fundraiser for the bus and the amount of money.
180,000.
I know.
Wasn't it fantastic?
But I think it goes to show how many people look up to Skull Cormac and the team there, and the amount of money that was given
and
towards that.
Yourself.
I know myself. I have a niece and nephew over there,
yeah.
and I was just saying to you on the break that without Skull Cormac, Lorraine and her team, and every single person in there, the office staff and everything, have made our lives such a better place by Kate and Thomas being able to go to Skull Cormac. And just to touch on the SNAs, like, they are angels from heaven.
Vital.
They're a vital part of children's lives, going to special needs schools and the whole lot.
And then you hear what the government were trying to do with the relocations and stuff. You're shaking your head even.
I'm shaking my head, and if I started I wouldn't stop. But we're lucky enough that we have my niece and nephew going to Skull Cormac, and we can never thank them enough, and all the team over there for what they do for our family.
Well said indeed. So as you said, you're going to have a look at that notion of making a small room look bigger.
I am, and a pen and paper if people are listening this morning. I have some colours quickly that I'm going to call out as I'm talking as well. So the first tip is to choose a cohesive light colour palette. What does that mean? Light reflective neutrals are great. Soft warm whites, pale greys, muted taups and gentle stone tones work perfectly and beautifully in our Irish homes because they respond well to cool natural light. And a designer tip is paint your walls, ceilings and trims. So trim is skirting boards, architraves, door frames, that kind of thing. A closely related tone, and that blurs visual boundaries, and it creates a seamless and more expansive, bigger looking room.
So a small room is not the place to have experimental stuff going on with dark colours and the like then?
If somebody has a dark room and it's going to be used in the evening time, and they want a moody room and they have other rooms in the house that they're not needing maybe to be as bright and as welcoming, that a darker colour will work. But we're talking maybe about a smaller house, maybe an apartment, a smaller area, you know. The second thing is to use paint to blur the edges, and we kind of touched on that in the first one. So often a high contrast between the wall, ceiling and woodwork cuts up a room a little bit. Again, we're talking, you said, maybe a darker colour. So keeping these elements within the same tone of colour paint will make the space look bigger, and especially for small rooms. So what's very in at the moment, and we've touched on this a few times in the last year, is considering painting the ceiling and the wall colours the same colour.
Right.
Again, I would say that would be a more neutral colour, something like maybe alabaster white, French white.
So that would be very bright now.
That would be very bright, yeah. Another lovely one would be powdered shell. You'd like that. Ivory tusk underneath would be kind of a colour that you would love. They would be lovely, and you could do the ceiling in those colours as well.
And again, just to remind people that the names that Karen is giving you, if you Google those, you'll get the
brand
shade
and the shade will come up in front of you as well. So the third tip then is to maximise natural light. So avoid heavy dark curtains if you can, as in colours. Obviously, if we're talking about a bedroom or whatever, you might need blackout lining or a blackout blind on that, that's fine, but choose lighter colour fabrics. Mount your curtain poles higher up over the window and wider out past the frame, and that will create an illusion of larger windows and higher, and it will not cut off the room as much, you know. So that's a good idea. So normally we say 6 inches above the window and 6 inches either side for your curtain pole to fit it. But if you did want to give the illusion of a taller ceiling or a wider wall, you could maybe make that 10 inches.
You make a very interesting point as well. Avoid clutter, because clutter is going to make a place small.
Monday the weather was really good. Was it Monday, Tuesday? The weather was really good. I went to the dump Monday. And I went this morning before I came in here. I had stuff ready. I went through my cupboards and stuff like that. So I have a walk-in utility. So Monday it was a case of walk-in utility, go through the foods, go through different containers you'll be keeping for and think you're going to use them, whatever. Decluttered all that, sized it up and made it look lovely. And then I did other work on Tuesday as well, and I was able to go to the dump here in Clonmel twice this week. Now I have to say, as well as decluttering and look better, I did feel much better.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Because, and again, we often touch on this, because the weather hasn't been great, as we know, in January and February. But to be able to go out in the garden and cut back a few plants and to be able to do... Now, I'm talking a few hours work in the week is all I've done. But the difference it made to the area, I was able maybe to take some items then from another room and put them out there, and I was able to Now, I'm not a big clutter person, I have to say, but a utility is a place that gets cluttered, doesn't it?
I can never understand why it makes our head feel so much better if we do declutter.
Yeah, and it does for me, and I go on about it a lot, and I don't know why either, but for me it's just, and I think this time of the year as well, and funny enough, there was a queue going into the dump on Monday, and I said to the guys working in there when I was giving in my card and paying, and they said it's been like this all day because the weather was so good.
Everybody was making
cleaning.
the very best of it. Artificial light then in the small room.
So this is really important, and in anybody's house, but particularly in a small space. So there's 3 layers of lighting that you can use. Ambient lighting, so that's your ceiling fixture. All right, that could be spots, it could be a pendant or 2 in one room. Then you have task lighting, so that's reading lamps and desk lights, and our floor lamps. So again, we all need them depending on the task in the room that we're talking about. And then accent lighting is wall lights, picture lights, LED strips, and that kind of thing. So don't depend on just having a ceiling, a centre pendant in the ceiling and one light fitting. That won't brighten up your area or give you a brighter, nicer room. And again, we often talk about this. I would suggest warm white bulbs create a welcoming glow, and they're not yellow and they're not blue. So if you have a ceiling pendant or 2, it could be a kitchen dining, it could be a sitting room, and you have a lamp or 2, make sure you get the same tone bulbs for that softer, nicer look in the room.
Nice tip. Yeah, nice tip that indeed. Mirrors again are really important. So mirrors reflect both light and space. So daylight and light from lamps and as well. So opposite or adjacent to a window is a good place to put one.
Which is easier for you?
Behind a lamp table is a great place to put a mirror because it'll reflect the light from the lamp as well. And at the end of a narrow room, it'll extend the perspective. So what do I mean by that? So a lot of people will have a bungalow and it could be 15, 20, 25 years old, and they might have only one socket up at the front door area, say for the Hoover, because electrical specifications weren't that big then, but they could have a hallway down the end that there's no light and it's really dark. So if you place a small table down the end of the hall, there's lots of lamps available now that are rechargeable, like with your phone charge and whatever, and put a mirror over that table. So a small narrow table, a mirror over it, and a lamp or 2 on a small table will make all the difference to that hallway.
Very good. One of our listeners doing up 2 small spare rooms, one as a double guest room, the other as an office. I'm wondering about tips. I presume everything that we've spoken about so far would apply.
Yeah, everything we've spoken about, and maybe if you're doing the 2 rooms, it might be a good idea to use the one wall colour in the 2 rooms. First of all, again, it's not about budget, but you'll be saving money. A bucket, a 10 litre bucket will probably do you for that, but it'll expand the space a little bit better rather than. A good tip is if you have a smaller area, it's often good to run the one wall colour fairly throughout the house, and the same flooring as well, so it expands the area in every way.
Right. Furniture then, Karen.
So furniture, try and avoid bulky furniture. So select furniture that has a little bit of lightness about it. So that's maybe choosing raised leg pieces that come off the floor, so it exposes more of the floor. Opt for slim arms and sofas, with sofas and chairs, not really big, huge, chunky pieces of furniture or a 3-suite piece. One of my calls is often, I've bought a suite of furniture for my sitting room and it doesn't fit, can you come and help me? Avoid over deep furniture as well in tight rooms, because that'll take up a lot of space. And if you want to, you can use glass or marble topped occasional tables or a coffee table to maintain openness as well. But I would always say with glass, be careful who's using the house. If there's young children there, glass isn't going to be suitable. It has to be shatterproof and everything as well.
You alluded to flooring there. I mean, what do we keep in mind flooring again for a small space?
Again, now if I'm working on a revamp in a job, or maybe a new build or whatever, we're often using the same floor throughout. So visual to continue the visual look is key. So run the same flooring throughout adjoining spaces if you can. Avoid strong transitions and busy patterns from one room to another. Use lighter tones of wood flooring, and there's a lovely colour floor that I use an awful lot. It's called macro oak in a beige colour. It's beautiful. It's nice and light and there's no yellow tones in it. And also large format rugs can be good for defining a seating area if you need it while maintaining openness. Funny enough, rugs in the last 2 years have taken over. Before that, not everybody was using a rug. Now rug companies are flying it.
So it's fashionable.
Rugs are very fashionable.
You have a very interesting tip, and just before we wrap up, will you explain it to me? You're saying hang artwork slightly higher than average. And again, this plays into making the space seem bigger.
The floor space...
That's interesting.
Less cluttered. It also draws your eye upwards, so it makes the room seem higher. By installing it higher. Again, install tall cabinetry or bookcases, and also vertical panelling is huge now, probably, as you know, and wall mountings, and they'll help elongate your walls as well.
It's very interesting. Just about out of time. Do you want to just mention a couple of quick
I
colours?
do, yeah. If you're looking for a colour, an off-white for your timber work, that could be your door skirtings, architraves, or if you have stairs in your hall, Arctic Blonde is beautiful, and Monday's Child is gorgeous. Also, Alabaster White, it's got a little yellow tone in it. It's really good.
If people Google these numbers, you'll
French White is a lovely rich white if you're looking for a white for your timber work as well.
Very good. If people want to talk to you, Karen,
you can contact me on 086 606 9009. Website, Facebook and Instagram is Interior Concepts.
All right, great to see you as always.
Thank
we'll
you
allow
so
you
much.
back out into the rain now. Good to see you, Karen. Thanks very much indeed. News and information's coming up.
Tipp FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage, puck on. It's time to change. Test drive the award-winning range of Peugeot hybrids and fully electric vehicles at Slattery's Garage today. See slatterysgarage.ie.
Tipp FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage, puck on. Over half a century driving the people of Tipperary and surrounding areas with quality, reliable and economical vehicles, new and used. Call the sales team today to discuss your next car or van on 067 24111.
Thanks, Pat, and welcome back to the final hour of Tip Today. 1800 938 007, and the text and WhatsApp is 083 311 3300. I'm just looking at some of what's coming into us on text and WhatsApp today. And I think it kind of reflects the rainy, miserable day that's out there, because some people are very, very grumpy indeed. George is up there, Nina is grumpy and giving out, and Brian is giving out. Anyway, it's great to see you. Time now for our Wellbeing slot that's going to cheer you all up, and I'm glad to be joined by Muriel Cuddy as usual. Good morning to you, Muriel.
Good morning, Fran.
Good to see you today. We've been speaking about diabetes recently, and you brought a guest with you today. Will you tell me about our guest?
Did, and John is going to introduce himself in a minute. There are so many stories in life, and sometimes then an odd story that comes through me really resonates, that I feel people have to listen or people have to hear it. The more people that present to me lately with diabetes and cardiovascular, I think the more frightening it becomes in relation to how serious it is. And I think people don't actually realise how serious it is. But John's story was, I suppose, unusual, as in 67, John, aren't you? I'm right there, aren't I? 67. Yeah, John is 67. John only realised that he had type 2 diabetes, or what we would say is, well, you can't even classify it as pre-diabetic because he actually had diabetes. When he went to do his driving test to renew his lorry licence, he had to get a blood test.
Wow.
And it was the blood test that actually showed up that his numbers were what I would say sky high. Cholesterol numbers were also sky high. Triglycerides were at 6.1 or something. They should be down under 1.7. So the numbers were kind of scary. So I'm going to let John tell his story then.
All right, John. Good morning to you. And just to tell listeners, John, you're not overweight. I know that you go dancing, so you're a relatively fit guy as well. Was it a surprise to you to find out about this?
It was a surprise. It was, and I was advised by my doctor then to go on medication. Yeah. And
did you have symptoms, by the way? Were you?
No, nothing. No. Just when I look back on it after, I was much stiffer than I am now. Feeble and that. But it was a shock, and I thought I was fine. That everything was grand. Yeah.
But you weren't. And what about your lifestyle and your diet and all of that? What was that like? I
thought my diet was good, but obviously I was to learn after that it wasn't, you know. And my lifestyle would be I'd be quite active all the time, you know. And I do quite a bit of driving, and I do, I have a fuel business, and I'd be doing a lot of deliveries, and I'd be, we'll say lifting and all of that. Yeah. And I'd be working 12 hours a day in a lot of the time, and I thought that was enough to keep me fit and that, but obviously it wasn't.
And you were put on medication by
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I had a choice that was recommended to go on medication, but I had a choice that if I could improve my diet and get down the sugar levels in my blood. But that's when
that's what you chose.
That's what I chose
to go down that road, and that's when you met Muriel.
That's when I met Muriel. Yeah.
Okay. And what did she tell you when she looked at your lifestyle and your diet and all of that?
She said to me straight away. She said that this can be reversed, and put me on a certain plan. It was a kind of and after a very short time going into the plan, I was into it.
Yeah.
And I could after maybe 2-3 weeks I could feel an improvement.
Right.
Yeah.
And what sort of changes did you have to make?
On the eating plan, it was and a bit more walking. Which I did do a bit of walking on.
What I mean is, what were you eating that you had to look at that was not good for you and was not helping with the diabetes?
Mostly it was pork or pig related and dairy.
Right.
They were the two main things.
And had you a sweet tooth?
I had a sweet tooth as well.
Yeah.
But I had to kind of curb the sweet tooth a bit.
Right.
Yeah. But and it's quite hard to curb the sweet tooth.
Don't I know? Don't I know? And would you have taken a drink as well?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, and I'll come back to you in a moment, John. But as I say, John is not overweight. He was active. He wasn't a drinker. I don't know. Do you smoke, John?
No.
It's unusual, isn't it?
No, not unusual. No, and that's the scary thing, I suppose, that you can have these underlying conditions, and if you're not actually doing the checks, you're not going to know. And John hadn't had his blood taken for 2 or 3 years prior to that, so you're not going to know. Now, he had the symptoms, so the symptoms were there, and I was reading them out to him even before we came in, because people forget when they come into me their symptom checklist of how they are, like the giant stiffness, the aches and pains or whatever, like feeling older than what you are. Like he said, he was weaker. He was waking at 3 o'clock in the morning and couldn't go back to sleep again. Like there was a list as long as your arm of things that the body was shouting to say, like, this is wrong, but you put it down to age. Like you said, like as far as you were concerned, John, at 67, these things should be happening, but like they shouldn't be happening. And now that we have reversed it, you can reverse type 2 diabetes only if you're not on medication and you do the lifestyle plan over the space of about maybe 2 years, and you're looking at the numbers coming down over the space of those 2 years. So we're in the middle of it. That's where we're at the minute. But the fact that John started feeling better nearly immediately meant that the foods we took away and what we had implemented was starting to work.
So what did you take? I'm kind of gathering from John, he had the mammy dinners, as I would describe, the pork and the bacon and whatever. So what did you take away from?
He couldn't understand when he came in why the numbers weren't coming down, and why he didn't feel better, because he had made the changes that you would think were right. As in, it was porridge for breakfast, it was like sandwiches at lunchtime, and then it was like the mammy dinner or whatever. But when somebody comes in and you're presented with numbers as high as what his were with the HbA1c, and like John doesn't mind me saying his numbers were high. Sure you don't, John? The numbers were high and they frightened me, as in we need to work on this immediately. So there's no soft approach then. You have to literally go for it, as in if you're not going to go on medication, we have to keep you safe. So to keep you safe means we have to pull whatever will raise your blood sugars. So porridge in the morning isn't the right breakfast. You're going to have to go with like your eggs and avocado and good fats and that, And
so porridge is not the right breakfast?
Not if you if your diabetic numbers are high, porridge is going to be a sugar. Okay, so if you have porridge with milk, then you have lactose in the milk. So then you have a sugar on sugar. Put honey on that, then straight away you're putting more sugar in. Then you put your fruit in. So you put a banana, which is what most people put on top. Then you have sugar on sugar on sugar. So like that's going to drive your blood sugars cracked before the day even starts. Whereas if you remove all the sugar and you start on a protein and high fat breakfast, you're not doing any thing to your sugar
Right,
levels.
so this would be what, your eggs? And
Your eggs and your avocados and smoked salmon, or anything like that. Once it's protein and fat, that's what you're looking at. And like even things like your nice whole grain breads, they're fine because they're high fibre. Now I did remove, I removed anything that was inflammatory, and the reason I removed anything that was inflammatory in John's world was because he had cholesterol as well. So his triglycerides and his LDL were high. So you're looking at a cardiac profile along with the diabetic profile.
So what else did you take out?
So, well, like you said, like pig went, dairy went. So they went immediately. And I even brought red meat back to like 1 day a week or whatever. We had to just clean everything out to see would it work immediately. And then you can actually start adding things back in if you can start getting the numbers down. But Fran, it was amazing. He started feeling better within the space of 10 days. But we retook his bloods within 6 weeks. His cholesterol, his triglycerides had dropped from over 6 down to 0.77. Normal.
Wow.
His LDL, the other side of his cholesterol, had dropped from 4.4 back down to 3.6. And his HbA1c, which is his diabetic sugar numbers, had come from 51 down to 48. So everything in the space of that 6 weeks, it just showed you that the lifestyle side had been driving it, and now the lifestyle side, as it was pulled back into line, he was healing. That was the biggest thing, he was healing. But what people don't realise, I suppose, and I'm going to say it again because it's really important to me, diabetes is a serious illness. So, even if you're getting your numbers to a certain level, you have to really manage it behind the scenes through the prevention side. So the prevention side is do the exercise, do the diet, the water, the sleep, the stress. If you don't do that, on the other side, your numbers will stay rising. So even if you are on medication, it will only control it to a certain level. And while the medication rises, your lifespan numbers will come down. So you do the preventative side, your lifestyle numbers will go up. So it's really important. So John has actually added numbers on.
So, what was the hardest part of the change of lifestyle for you, John? Well, just come a little closer to that for me. What was the hardest part of it all for you?
I suppose the pork was one of the things.
You really liked it?
I did really like it. And all over the years, we would have ate a lot of pork.
Yeah.
And that was one. And dairy as well. Yeah. But in a very short time, you'd get used to that. Yeah,
And what did you replace it with then? What did you have for dinner instead of the pork and the bacon?
Mostly fish now. Yeah, fish and chicken.
Right.
Yeah, which are very easy to get ready.
Yeah, the only thing with fish and me, I know I'm hungry again in a short time. Did you find that?
In the beginning,
right?
But once you get used to it, no, it can be very filling.
And Muriel was saying within 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, you began to see a difference, did you?
Oh yeah, actually, you would notice it at even after the 2 weeks, and then for the next few weeks, a big difference. Yeah. And
what kind of differences are we talking?
You'd be
about?
much more livelier. The pains and aches went, and I'd be getting in and out of a lorry a lot of times during the day, and I pop in and out now, no problem whatsoever.
Right.
And to do anything isn't a chore anymore. You just go on and do it.
And what about in your head, John? What about emotionally and stuff? Do you feel better in your head about life
much
in
better.
general?
There's nothing a big job now, whereas I'd be looking to have a helper with me, before.
Yeah. It's interesting, but you had put the symptoms down to just the aging process.
Almost
as if you were expecting this to be the case. In some
different,
way, Yeah. So your advice to people out there then would be, particularly to men, and we're notoriously dreadful to go to the doc or go for blood tests or whatever. What would your advice be?
To go and as I did, to go and have it looked after. Yeah.
Because
to go and not even be thinking about, just go and do it.
Go and do it. But it makes all of the difference.
All of the difference. Yeah. And before, when I come in at night, when I would say if there was something on the telly, just start watching it. The next thing I'd fall asleep for maybe half an hour.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't happen. I can say watching television all night if I want to now, and I wouldn't even be tired going to bed.
It's an interesting aspect of diabetes that isn't spoken about very often, Muriel, but as I know, mid-afternoon can be dreadful if you're driving. I mean, you're so tired.
The eyes, one of the things that's will massively counterbalance that is the water side. And people don't drink enough water because if you have diabetes, you're going to be weeing a lot, especially if the body's inflamed. So like if you're driving for 2 hours and you have to stop 2 or 3 times, then you stop drinking, don't you? So like one goes against the other.
Yes.
There's so many things like that, but like going back to John was actually up in Holy Cross and he saw, who was it, Ollie or Timmy?
Ollie,
remember Timmy was in with us here?
Oh yes, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and he actually saw him before this ever happened to himself. And actually said, Jesus, they all call him Delaney, do they? Do the boys all call Delaney, are they? Or do you call him by the first name?
I know Ollie as Ollie,
yes,
yeah. Timmy is Timmy.
Yeah. But he actually looked down across, didn't you? And you said, Jesus, he's doing fierce well, whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that he looked well. But it's exactly the same thing as in he's doing all of this side and this side is working. But again, you can reverse, not if you're on medication, but you can put it into some form of remission, right? But what we're in here to say, I suppose, really is, and you said it to me again this morning, even looking at farmers, delivering stuff to farmers and stuff, they're isolated. There's a lot of people that are isolated and they don't go about it.
Yeah, of course.
John didn't go about it until he was 67. I don't know what would have happened, you, John, if you hadn't had to get the bloods done. For the lorry licence.
Yeah.
He was going to be in a serious state. Something was going to happen. There would have been a bang somewhere along the way. Age profile, etc., with everything that was there. So this is the bit that people, I think, don't actually realise. You have to get checked. You have to go, but if there's anything wrong at all in the body, don't sit on it. And I know it's a job to get a doctor's appointment, go to a doctor and get bloods done and stuff, but you have to say something to somebody because all of this can be managed. And if you're doing the lifestyle side, and like we're talking about it again and again and again, and every single presentation, every lecture I go to, every skilling workshop that I do, it's all coming back the whole time to lifestyle. It's literally try and get this bit. Even yesterday on social media, Fran, I put it up. I'm prescribing exercise. I'm literally prescribing exercise for people now because people aren't doing it, and I'm saying you have to do 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week of anything. Dance, cycle, swim, do whatever it is you want to do, but you have to do 30 minutes a day. Break it down into 10-minute increments, walk around the house. But something as simple as that and something as simple as drinking your water can have make a massive change.
Now, if people are on medication, there's still a lot they can do to help themselves.
You have to. It's not even like you have no choice. Like if you want to live and be well when you're living, instead of the medication going up, like whatever meds you're on them for a reason. Your body was breaking down. So how is the medication going to stay at that level if you make no changes? Because your body was already breaking down, so it's going to stay going up. So if you start making the changes on the other side, you can either hold the medication where it's at and increase your lifespan, but you have no choice, Fran. I know probably you said Muriel's going to bring you to light today. This is probably 9 people that are listening, but it's hard for the first, 10 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, John. But after that, then it starts getting easier.
I would say about 10 days. And well, with me anyway, after about 10 days, I was in on it, and now I look forward to get my own meal, it just all fits into place so easily.
Right, but of course you know then that what you're having is good for you.
It's good, yes, and you're getting the results.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
sorry, John, go on.
But now and then you'd be very tempted to especially eat a sweet now when you...
Would you?
You would, yeah.
What would tempt you most now? Would it be?
Eat a sweet after eating.
Yeah, like a dessert.
Nice dessert, yeah.
But you don't.
But I don't.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
90% of the time.
I knew he was.
He didn't tell me any of that.
I knew he was going to.
That's all news to me.
But of course, that is the thing. It's our notion of what is a treat for us. You see, we miss that.
And a treat is a treat. As in, it's 80-20.
Yeah.
Like any plan I will ever put anyone on. Yes, we nailed John to the cross literally for the first month or so because the numbers were so high and he didn't have medication. But after that, it's gone back then to 80-20. Like you can actually relax a little, as in, if you go out for a meal, enjoy your meal. If you want a dessert, you have your dessert. If you want a drink, you can have a drink. So you don't have to be perfect. Like life isn't perfect. But if you get the 80% right, that's enough to bring the numbers down. That's enough to keep you safe. That's enough. The longevity piece for me is massive, Fran. And it's not just longevity. It's like people are dying at 70 and 72 and they don't need to, in my book, as in we can get another 10 years, but not 10 years of being kept alive, 10 years of living. Like John is now sleeping all night. So John has loads of energy. And like he's even after talking to 2 or 3 others, like as in your family and other people that he feels need to listen. So that's like spread the word. It's like say, this isn't rocket science. Just,
And it might surprise some people. It surprises me to a little extent. Pains and aches, I didn't realise were one of the symptoms. Yeah. But I mean, now that you say it.
It's inflammation. Yeah. It's inflammation. And like anything like that, the thirst, the eyesight, wean non-stop, all of these are not normal. Like feeling nauseous, heavy legs, all of these are not normal. And like you've microvascular and you've macrovascular with diabetes. The macrovascular is the heart-related side, etc. Microvascular is the eyesight and the nerves and all of that piece. Like your kidneys are affected. Every single system in the body is affected by diabetes. So if you don't control it, or you don't manage it to some extent, everything like that is going to break down behind the scenes.
Michael was on to us from Clonmel. He says, I was diagnosed with diabetes the end of November 2024. Had a new doctor at the time, basically saved my life. I put the work in, lost 6 stone, changed my eating habits completely, went for walks, drinking only water, fresh lemon slices in it, eating fresh fish with green beans on toast, boiled white chicken. My diabetes has regressed completely. I feel like a new man. So, and again, I was thanking Dr. Grant there on Mary Street in Clonmel. She saved my life, says Michael. It's amazing when you meet the right person at the right time. It can make
two
all
things,
the difference.
Fran. You have to be ready, so you have to be willing to listen.
Yeah.
I don't know when people are willing to listen. Is it that the switch flicks to say, I could actually die here, that you get such a shock? Or do you want to, like somebody said to me the other day, she said, I'm actually living. I haven't lived for the last 10 or 15 years. Do you want to live? Right? And even when you go back to say what John was talking about with the food and stuff, when you actually start eating proper normal food, as we would say, like the 70 years ago food, your palate changes. So you actually get used to the normal, ordinary food, and that's the food you want. So if you went out for a meal, a lot of the time you don't even enjoy the meal to the same extent. So you start prepping and you start bringing the food. But what that man said there, Michael, the losing the weight, even like
6 stone,
5 kg can bring down your numbers, like your HbA1c, like by 1 to 2%. Like the smallest amount of weight loss can make a huge difference. But weight loss is crucial, and the weight loss is crucial. So that's like, as in, you can't go softly to lose the weight.
But again, John isn't a heavy man.
No, and that, you see, that's the other side of like the bodies that are actually slim that come in, and like they've high levels of visceral fat. They've things going on internally.
Inside
that they don't know about.
Okay, interesting. If people want to talk to you, Muriel?
Yes, so it's 062 88 002.
Okay, very good. Well, we were delighted to see you, John, and we wish you well, but life very different for you now.
Yeah, it is very different. Much livelier and like Muriel mentioned, going up the stairs. Yeah. I used to find it in recent times much harder. And now I can fly up and down. Yeah.
Well, that's great. It's a good news story for sure. John, good to see you. Muriel, thanks very much indeed. We'll take a break. We're back with more in just a moment.
Tipp FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage Puckon. Now is the time to pick up your next van. From the award-winning Peugeot Partner van to the Expert and the load-lugging Boxer van. We have big vans, high roof vans, long wheelbase vans. You'll find them all at Slattery's Garage Puckon. See slatterysgarage.ie.
Tipp FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage Puckon. It's time to change. Test drive the award-winning range of Peugeot hybrids and fully electric vehicles at Slattery's Garage today. See slatterysgarage.ie.
Now, Liam, I know exactly what you're saying, and, we have to take what we hear and what we read, particularly online, with a whole a grain of salt. I think it was Churchill who said, first of all, that the first casualty of war is the truth. So you're right, we should interrogate everything that we hear and that we see for sure. The excitement is building in Thurles this week for Sarah's Cycle, the fundraiser for Down syndrome Tipperary. Now, it takes place this coming Sunday, March 8th. Our own Stephen Gleeson is in Thurles now to meet those involved, and he joins me. Good morning to you, Stephen.
Thanks very much, Fran. Yes, we're here in Stakelums here in Thurles, and we have a bit of a launch here taking place, I suppose you could call it, for Sarah's Cycle, which takes place this weekend. And I'm delighted to be joined by a number of people here around the table, beginning with Muriel Cuddy here, who is a parent involved. Tell us all about Sarah's Cycle and the background of it, Marie.
Hi, Stephen. Thanks a million. Well, Sarah's Cycle started really in 2015, but the cycle itself started before that. the cycle, we have a cycle every year organised by Paul Sheridan. It's a 6-county cycle, and the funds raised are divided between the 6 Munster county branches. So every year they do training, and always for the first training every year was in Clonmel, and they had that in February, the end of February every year. And the girl called Sarah Dillon, beautiful bullet of a girl from Clonmel with Down syndrome, supported with her mum every year and her dad. And unfortunately in 2014, April 2014, poor Sarah passed away. So the organiser, Paul Sheridan, then said, from now on, this training spin is going to be called Sarah Cycle. And we are going to remember this bullet, Sarah Dillon, every year. So that's when it started. So this is what, the 11th year then of it being Sarah Cycle, where we remember Sarah Dillon, because we will never ever forget her. So it started, we used to have it 2 days in Clonmel. It's 1 day now here in Thurles, and it leaves Toos in Thurles next Sunday, the 8th of March. All funds raised go to support our Down Syndrome Tipperary branch. Our chairperson will tell you more about that. But a lot goes on. Nothing could go on without the support of people like the cyclists who come out to support us and fundraise for us, because we're a voluntary organisation, we get no funding, so we depend on the goodness of people, and the people like people here in Stakelin who are supporting us and sponsoring us today. So that's the background of Sarah's Cyclist, to remember Sarah Dillon from Clonmel.
And it's grown year on year, I suppose, huge numbers, and you have a range of different types of cycles, you know, of different distances for people who might like a short cycle or a long cycle.
Absolutely, Stephen. We started this year, we have a 15, a 50 and a 100. Now the 15 is geared towards your amateur cyclists or your very leisure cyclists, and we have some members with Down syndrome actually participating in the cycle this year. They're well able. We're actually doing training with Tina and Ray from Racy Cycling in Clonmel. They come to Thurles. They do some training and cycling lessons with our members, and now some of them have progressed on, and they will be doing the 15k this year, which is fantastic. Amazing to see them coming out. But again, funds from fundraisers like this one go towards providing the cycling lessons with Tina and Ray. So these kind of fundraisers are just vital for us to provide the supports for our people with Down syndrome.
And all these things, of course, cost money to organise and get together, and delighted to be joined now by Jay Connor, the retail manager here in Stakelums in Thurles, and you're very involved with this over the last number of years, and here as well this year, Jay.
Yeah, look, in Stakelums here we try to be all about the community, so we try and give as much help out to the community as we can, especially our local metal group there that do great work every year, and we're always delighted to do whatever we can for them. But I suppose we really got involved through our colleague Richie Burke here, who's one of our bike mechanics inside in the shop here, and Richie has been with Sarah's Cycle from the start, and even before it was Sarah's Cycle. So he has, in fairness, we're backing Richie in this one. Yeah. We're behind Richie in this because he's so passionate about it, and he's there every year helping out all the lads, and we just want to get behind him as one of our colleagues and part of our family to support the rest of the wider community. And he does such great work for them that we're happy to plough in behind him. And again, it's such a great charity, and again, you can see the work they're doing. They're in everybody's community. Everybody likes to give a hand out, and to be able to see us doing small or a little bit to help out, so we can do things like help the lads on their training, their cycling trainings, and all the other different activities that we're involved in throughout the year, not just alone in Sarah's Cycle, but Sarah's Cycle is a big one for us throughout the year because Richie is so involved in it.
Great stuff, Jay, and Richie is here alongside us as well, and great activity here today in Stakelums in Thurles, and there's a lot building towards this on Sunday. You're looking forward to a great day, and you work with bikes as well here.
I do. I am involved in charities since '95, and I got involved with Sarah Cycle through a sister-in-law's sister has Down syndrome, and kind of since then I got involved. But it's not just Down syndrome here, it's most of Down syndrome in Munster, like Cork, Kerry, Watford, so on. So it's also other cycles as well. You know, it could be Ron MacDonald up in Lochderg, we do a cycle there, and so on, like after that. So I just enjoy helping out, volunteering and getting on over. But that's it, like, it's just a volunteer matter of it.
And that's the Tour de Munster as well.
Tour de Munster. I got involved in Tour de Munster there 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it is 4 days of it. A lot of going, over 600 kilometres.
A brilliant effort, and I suppose like anyone that's taken part, they have that joy of being out in the open, getting around the place in a safe environment as well for a really good cause.
Yes, and plus make lots of friends, like as with Sarah Cycle, Linda here and Marie. They've been there from day one nearly. And the kids here as well. We have Sarah, and she's getting big as well, growing up fast from the first days of pictures I have her when she was only small. I know, and they're after turn into fine ladies.
We'll have a word with you here. And Sarah, what's your surname and where are you from?
So my surname is Kenny and I'm from Arfinnan.
Brilliant. And you're going to take part on Sunday?
Yeah.
So you're from Ardfinnan, and would you be here in Thurles a lot of the time?
Yeah, I would be, yeah. I'll be here like on the Mondays and the Tuesdays and the Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Brilliant stuff. And we have a young man here. You tell us your name. What's your name?
My name's Ian and I'm 6 years old.
Brilliant. And where are you from?
Nina.
Nina. And do you come over here to Thurles during the week?
Yes.
Brilliant. And tell us what you like doing when you're here in Thurles.
Playing in the playground.
Oh, lovely. Can't beat that, can you?
No.
Yeah. And do you like Steaklands here, and are you having a good day here?
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. And what's your name? Tell us your name and where you're from.
Amy Horn.
And where are you from?
County Westmore.
Oh, brilliant. They have a good hurling team, don't they?
Yes.
And Camogie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you come in here to Thurles as well during the week?
I do, yeah.
Ah, brilliant stuff. And, I believe you're a hurler as well, is that right?
You're right.
Yeah. You love the Camogie?
Yeah, I love Camogie.
And would you be out, who have you a favourite player for Camogie or for hurling?
Camogie.
Camogie.
Contavan.
Ah, Contavan, yeah. A legend down around Clonolty, Rossmore part. Well, we're going to have a word here now with a couple more people that are here around. Linda Gillick is here, chairperson of Down Syndrome here in Tipperary. Great gathering here today, and you know it's lovely to be involved in this, no doubt.
Perfect, Steve. Thanks so much for coming out here today with us. It's, as I said, Steaklands have really come on board with us this year. It's been phenomenal. It's just been a fantastic response to everybody, you know, coming on board with us. We've had a few sponsors this year that have come on board with us, like Steaklands being our big one. Avonmore have donated soup for us for the cyclists. Dunn Stores have been great as well. They've given us a voucher for the food as well. So Bursley Waters, it's endless, and you could go on. Like the kindness from people around our cycle is just phenomenal. Tom Barry from Super Value, they've all been incredible to us. And throughout Thurles, I suppose the community around us have really engaged with Mehel 21 to support our members, I suppose, in all the therapy that goes on in Mehel. If we had 8 days in the week, I'm sure the doors would be open 8 days of the week. But it is, as I said, it's home from home for our members, and it couldn't happen without the likes of these people coming on board to help us to fundraise and to help us out with what happens.
Yeah, the likes of Richie and Jay there, super to have.
Absolutely. Like Richie has been an absolute godsend. He's been to every committee meeting. He's at the end of the phone, no matter what time or day or night it is. I think I was on the phone to him last night at something like 10:20, and not a bother. Like it's as I said, people. I have no words. People are just so good and so kind, helping us out.
And for those who aren't aware, where are you based here in Thurles?
So we're based in Thurles on Abbey Road, Down Syndrome Tipperary. It's a house called Mehel 21. For those who don't know what Mehel 21 is, it means community. And 21 is Trisomy 21 for the Down syndrome that we cater for. So it's right in the middle of Thurles. You can't miss it. We're a blue house, and yeah, people call in and out to us. It's great.
And a fundraiser like this can make a big difference, because there's not enough provided by the government, that you need to fundraise yourself to actually make ends meet.
Yeah, we get no government funding whatsoever. So everything that's done in Mehel is purely down to these guys who fundraise for us. And again, going back to Sarah Cycle, is one of our biggest fundraisers of the year. So without that, our members wouldn't receive therapy. they wouldn't receive the needs that we have going for them. Like they have their pals, they get to go to TUS. All these things would not happen without the backing of the community around us and the fundraising that goes on. Particularly for our adult members, they're the leaderships for the members coming up, and I suppose that's what we're aiming for, is to have something put in place for the smaller members, coming up the road for.
And just finally, people want to get involved, want to take part on Sunday, how can they do so?
So, absolutely, all are welcome. Please come out to support us. It is in TUS, starting at 9 o'clock. You can register on Event Master, or you can register on the morning in TUS College. And as I said, I think Marie had said there's a 15. We'll start you off small. So there's 15k, a 50k, and 100k. So. And you're well fed. So, and there's a stop actually in Littleton for teas and coffees. The cyclists stop halfway, so there's a little stop there for them to take a break and mosey on back to TUS for hot showers and food.
Well done. Well, listen, lovely talking to you, and I wish you well on Sunday.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Thanks a million.
And with that, Fran, we hand back to the studio.
Thanks very much indeed, Stephen. Well done to everybody involved in Down syndrome. Tipperary, and the very best of luck with Sarah's Cycle taking place, as Stephen said there, this coming Sunday, March 8th.
Tipp FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage, puck on. It's time to change. Test drive the award-winning range of Peugeot hybrids and fully electric vehicles at Slattery's Garage today. See slatterysgarage.ie.
If it matters to you, it matters to us. Call Tipp today on 1800 938 007.
Now, if we discovered one thing on the programme this morning, it certainly is that there are a lot of issues with lighting, with public lighting all over the county. Connie was on to us and she says, hey Fran, they changed 2 lights on our roadway at Green Lane in Feathert. They just put an arm on one and no bulb fitting. The light has gone now over 2 years, says Connie. 083 311 3311. Now, last week on the show, our great friend Joan Noble joined us to discuss what was in her wardrobe in years gone by. Huge reaction to her piece with me. So we had to bring her back for part 2. Good morning to you, Joe.
Oh, Jesus, hold on. I'm coming. Sorry, I was turning off the radio. I was turning you off.
I see.
Now I'm Grant.
Oh, well, good morning, Joe. How are you?
Oh, sorry. Good morning, French. You're here in Grant. Now, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Before I start yapping,
okay.
Can I just ask people out there that knows Mary if they can keep her in their prayers?
This is our good friend Mary Gordon.
Yeah. Please, Catherine. She's a dote. She keeps me updated almost every day.
Well,
so,
we wish Mary the very, very best. We look forward to hearing her on the radio again soon, Joe. Joe, will you talk? Do you know that you got such a huge reaction when you talked to us about clothes last time around? You know that, do you?
Sure, I had to run out the door as soon as I was over. I had another appointment. I had to run. Well, hobble.
But you were talking the last part of the conversation about passion killers last week, and you did a bit of research on that, didn't you?
I did. I done research on my passion killers, and I tell you, in English, the noun passion killer denotes anything which discourages or inhibits sexual activity. They're big bloomers. And nowadays, the yokes, you know the yokes? Well, you mightn't know the yokes, but maybe then you would. The yokes that some women wear to hold in their bellies and their bums, like, you know, them all in one yoke is.
I do. What are they called again? They're called...
They're also called passion killers. I Googled it.
Oh, are they? Are they called Spanx or something like that, are they?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what they're called. I would never wear them. I like me comfort.
But they're passion killers as well, are they?
Yeah. That came up on Google now. Right. So like, and passion killers were in, what was it, 1940s or something?
Right, but the original passion killers that you were talking, they're kind of underwear. They're knickers, are they?
They're big bloomers, big Bridget Jones diaries breeches. You know, the big yokes with elastic on the legs of them.
I see. Right.
You know, they kind of, I saw a picture of them. They kind of come down halfway down a woman's thigh with elastic on it.
Right. So they're for a real passion killer. And you didn't have them in your wardrobe, or?
Oh, jeez, I didn't. Good holy Moses. No, I didn't.
I'm just asking, Joe. I'm just asking. It's a valid question.
Well, I wasn't born in 1940, was I? Come on, like.
Joe, why is everybody so grumpy today, for God's sake? You know, what is it? Is it the rain or something? I don't know. Everybody seems to be grumpy.
I'm not grumpy.
Are you
I'm
not?
looking across here at the college. They've under heat and all the steam is coming out the top of the chimney. No. I'm never grumpy, friend. What's the point in being grumpy?
I don't know. But you were telling us lots about what you were wearing and stuff, and you were going to continue telling us as well.
Yeah, I mean, there was loads of things, friend. I mean, with the leg warmers, them knitted yokes that you pull up on your legs up above your ankle over your jeans or whatever.
That was back in the 80s, was it? In the early 80s?
Yeah, it could even be before it. I can't remember back that far.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the maxi dresses. We swear, I remember I had a big long maxi dress. Jeez, I loved it. And I remember wearing it going dance, but I wanted to jizz it up a bit.
Yeah.
And I got this frilly stuff, kind of nearly what you'd see on the end of a couch. You know, those dangly yokes, Cashel or whatever you call them. And I got nice white, and I stitched it all around under the booby area.
These tassels.
Yeah. I thought it was lovely.
Well, I'm sure you were. I'm sure you were lovely. What reaction did you get when you went out to the dance hall?
Oh, well, no, I didn't get too bad a reaction. Of course, back then, friend, they were all as old-fashioned as what I was like.
Yeah, but it was fashionable at the time, I guess, Joe.
Yeah, I know. One fella asked me, could he play with me toshels, but I told him where to go. No. Oh, no.
And that was a maxi, so that was down to your ankles, was it?
Oh, it was, yes. Yeah. You trip over. We had the platform shoes under it, like, to make it higher. But no, they were dangerous, really.
Yeah.
But because me being clumsy anyway, they were. And then we had the ponchos, the knitted.
I forgot about the ponchos. That's right, they were huge, weren't they, at one stage?
Yes, they were like Clint Eastwood just wear. We did. We had the ponchos. I remember Mammy knitting ponchos with big tassels hanging out of it. Lord, jeez, when I think of what we wore. But
you were big into the tassels, weren't you, Joe?
I did. I liked my tassels. Yeah, I did. Well, you see, when you be sitting down and getting bored, you had something to fiddle with.
I suppose there is that.
Yeah.
So you had a poncho, and can you remember what colour the poncho was?
Oh, it was all colours of the rainbow. My mother, when she'd been knitting things like that, it was all leftover wool, because she's knit jumpers and cardigans for us, like. So it was all the leftover wool. So, I mean, we could have the colours of the rainbow on them.
I'd forgotten all about ponchos, and that went on for years, that people were...
They did. Now they're called keebs, but they're not the knitted ones.
Oh.
As far as I know.
Oh, they're still there, aren't they?
Kind of knitted ones, but not like what we wore. They were more like crocheted ones with the holes in them. You know, that kind of knitted ones. Oh, they were queer.
Yeah. What else springs to mind, Joe?
Well, the spiky collars. Now, men used to wear the spiky collars in their shorts as well as the women with the long spiky collar blouse.
What spiky collars?
The collar was a big long V thing.
Oh, now I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember getting poked in the eye with one of them one night at a dance with a fella. He had a spiky shirt on. He went to put his arm around me, and whatever way I moved, the collar kind of came up.
Right.
And then he took the fucking eye out of me.
Were they shirts that you'd wear a dicky bow with at times? Was that the same one?
You could wear dicky bow, but usually the men back then, they were like, they used to wear these collars open at the top with them out over the top of their jacket.
Okay, I'm with you. God almighty.
And the Beatle hairstyle.
Yeah.
They looked like you put a bowl on top of their head, like, and put their hair all around it. And they were grand.
And Irish men over the years, they were always described as being, like, wicked where fashion is concerned. Would you go along with that, Joe?
They were the finest. I thought some of them, some of them okay, they hadn't a clue, like. But there was a lot of them. No, they were as fashionable now as what I thought I was.
Yeah.
Back then, and they were. Yeah. I mean, they did keep up with the times. I mean, they copied a lot. They copied Elvis Presley, didn't they? And they copied the Beatles' hairstyles, and even the Elvis Presley with the quiff. I mean, that was there too.
They were drenched in Brute and in Old Spice.
Oh, God, yeah, and the grease in the hair.
Oh, that's right, yeah, the oil, the hair oil.
Brill cream.
Yeah.
Oh, hair oil. Yeah, you're right.
That's
you're
right.
right.
Yeah. Hair oil.
Flipping hair. And our lace man tell us that we was wearing top of our head having to go to mass. For God's sake.
God,
like.
that's right. Yeah, you had to do that, didn't you?
You did. You had to wear them, and you couldn't have your arms bare going into the church either.
Are you serious?
You'd have to,
wow.
Oh, yeah. You had to have, sleeves coming down at least to your elbows, down that far.
Yeah, I'm told I was right about that underwear that tucks in your bulges and stuff. It is called Spanx.
Is it? I don't know. I never wore them.
SPANX.
One of them.
Well, yeah.
All right. I want a good one to keep in my belly and my bum. I wouldn't be able to breathe.
Go on out of that. Go on out of that. Not a bother. So do you remember Brute on the fellas then and
I do, and the Old Spice.
Old Spice, yeah.
I remember Daddy. God be good to him. He loved Old Spice.
Yeah.
And you can get that now. You can get both of them still.
You can get all of those again. You can, yeah.
Yeah, the last time I was talking to your friend, that's what I was saying. It's like a conveyor belt. All the things we used donkeys years ago, all come back again.
Yeah.
So like, what people would look at old photos of, say, the likes of me, and they'd be saying, holy God, my grandkids or something, and say, Lord, and then, like, what were you wearing? And now I look at them and I think, well, hey, hello. You're kind of wearing half of what I wore back then.
What would you not like to see coming back? What do you think shouldn't come back again?
Oh, well, I didn't like the knitted ponchos. No, I didn't. They were fickers, and if you let your nails grow, Eric, at all, you see, you'll be catching in them. They were a nuisance.
And your hair, of course, as well, because it would have to come down over your head, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would, yeah. It would. And, like I always had kind of, when my hair used to be bushy before they invented the electric iron, well, the iron to the iron.
Yeah, your version of the straightener was your electric iron, was it?
Well, it wasn't the electric one. It was the old one Mammy used to put the back part. She used to take out, there's a name for it now, but I can't remember. But she'd take it out of the iron and stick it into the fire. And when that would get red, then she'd put it back into the back of this iron yoke. And I shut her down at the back of the iron, and off we go.
Anne was onto us. She said, she remembers the lace head cover, a black triangle. I think it was called a mantilla. It was called a mantilla, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was exactly what it was. And we'd have to stick a clip in the top of it to keep it on our head like.
Anne was on to say, I remember going on an excursion with a pair of pink hot pants with a bib that my mum wore, and then she has kind of all sorts of emojis.
I never wore one of them. No,
the way you said that is brilliant. I never wore one of them. Why didn't you wear a hot pants?
I really didn't have the legs for it, I suppose. I don't know. You'd have to kind of be, have nice legs for one of them yokes. And don't mind you saying that, I wore a miniskirt.
Well, there you
go.
I
don't know. I was never... Well, of course, I always had kind of weak kidneys, and I always kind of thought, well, I need something. When I have to go, I have to go. And I couldn't really...
Too much information, Joe. Too much information. There's another Anne in Littleton, and you know Littleton very well. And Anne is saying, interesting listening to Joe. Brings back memories. I wore hot pants, velvet trousers, maxi dresses, press trousers. I don't know what they are.
What kind of a trouser?
Star press trousers. I don't know.
I don't know what that
Ben
is.
Sherman shirts, wet look coats and boots.
Oh, the wet look coats, good girl, and whoever you are.
Yeah.
I remember the wet look coat. That's a right tongue twister, isn't it?
Yeah. Wet look coats, and the boots as well.
So I say that quick 3 times. But they were all in, and the patent shoes and all them things, they all were in, weren't they?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things I've forgotten, Fran, but people, I love to hear them stories of other people coming in with, and it jogs my memory then back to, you know what I mean?
Great, yeah, of course it is too. And the boots that Anna's talking about there, were the boots wet look as well, if you know what I mean? Were they?
Yeah, you could get wet look boots as well. Yeah, you could. I used to wear hobnail boots one time.
You did not. You did not.
I did so. Well, what? Hey, hold on. Hobnail boots now are nearly like your big expensive Doc Martens, aren't they?
But why did you wear them? Why did I
wear hobnail boots? Because there was a bit of an old hippie stuck in me someplace along the line.
Was that it?
Yeah.
That was your idea of rebellion, was it? You were wearing hobnail
Oh,
boots.
very much so. Very much so. I mean, God love my poor mother. God almighty, I said her heart broke.
I don't believe a bit of it. It's amazing. Whenever you come on, we get flooded with stuff here for you, Joe Noble. You know.
Jenny.
Yeah,
well, what were they saying?
You're tearing them all back down memory lane. You see, that's what you do.
Oh right. Oh, I thought they were giving out to me.
Not a bit of it, not at all. The ponchos, they're coming out very well out of all of this. Great memories of the ponchos.
Yeah, but they're all back from not the crocheted ones that my mother don't like. Yeah. But they're all. You see, that's why I say the fashion. We should never throw out our clothes. You know that. And I'm an awful devil for giving things to the charity shops.
Yeah. Well, I don't throw anything at. I'm a bit of a hoarder.
You're a hoarder.
Oh
God. Oh no, Fran. You have to clear out every now and again. It's good for you. And you know that girl was talking today, the way she throws things out and clears out.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I couldn't remember her name. Sorry about that. But,
not at all.
No, yeah. I do that regularly.
Well, you see, that's why you're as sort of well put together as you are. You see.
I'm put together a fall and taken apart between hips and knees and backs and all sorts of everything. Holy Moses.
Joe, I have to go, Dote, but a pleasure as always, and thanks for lifting our hearts.
He passes there again to hunt me off.
I have to hunt you off. I have, Joe. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, that's probably that Pat fella again.
Yeah, Pat. Oh, the Pat fella again. He's shaking his fist here, saying, "Get off and leave us alone."
He's shaking his fist at me. I'll meet him one day. I will meet him in person one day.
He's looking. I'll tell you, he's looking very worried looking now. I can tell you, Joe.
So he should be.
Joe, look after yourself and look after yourself. We'll talk soon, Dote. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Okay, thanks, friend. Bye bye.
Great, Joe Noble with us today. That's it from me. Leanne produced, and Stephen is on the way with the Time Tunnel on the Lunchtime Show, and they are live from the ETB in Clonmel today. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Look after yourselves. Bye bye.
Tip FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage, Puckon. Main Peugeot dealers in the Premier County. And now stocking the full range of the luxury French car brand DS Automobiles. Book your test drive today with Slattery's Garage, Puckon. See slatterysgarage.ie.